Fair. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk with Ro. Welcome to Real Talk with Ro. We're back for episode 3. Thank you all for being so patient with us. While last week I was off celebrating my 39th birthday. So thank you all for being patient with us, giving us a week off. But we're back for episode 3. You all can see I got my troublemaker here to my left side. Introduce yourself, man. Introduce yourself to the people.
What's up? It's the one. It's the only. It's Pastor Frank Oliver, man. I'm trying to tell you, often trying to be duplicated, but they can never get it right, man. It's me. Hey, man, but yo dude who produces this show, that was a hot intro. And I need to get him to do my intro for my show. It's on. It's cracking. Hey, y'all, tune in. Share this show. I'm about to get it live. We're about to blow it up. Let's make it happen, Captain.
Yeah, man. Thanks. So yeah, as y'all come in, share it. We're on Facebook and we're on YouTube on tonight. So whichever one you come in on both of them. Start you a watch party. Tell them we're here with Real Talk with Ro. My good brother is here, Frank Oliver.
You had to bring a Carmel brother in. See, Carmel brothers got to make sure they make it happen for y'all dark skin and y'all little light skin brothers. It's the Carmel brothers. I'm telling you, Carmel brothers always made a way in Black America. Black America is better because of Carmel brothers. We've changed the world. Malcolm X, Carmel.
Listen, don't let him. Don't let y'all. Don't let him. Don't sway y'all tonight. Listen, milk chocolate is always the best. You know what they say, the black
only thing milk chocolate gave us was Marcus Garvey, Doc. That's it. The topic is single. Dr. Retney. You should have Dr. Retney call in.
Well, listen, Dr. Retney, if she's in, come on to the Facebook. When we give out the number, we're going to have you call in because we're going to try to dive into it.
We're going to talk about singleness.
Is a guest on tonight. My
interracial.
Sister, Dr. Najuma Smith-Pollard. She's going to come in a second. And she's going to be a guest on tonight. Hopefully, my other sister, Francesca White, she'll be joining us as well. But we want to be able to bring the woman perspective into this conversation. We do not want to leave you all out. So we're just going to have fun on tonight. Listen, it's Real Talk with Ro. This is episode 3.
Let's go.
We're going to be candid. We're going to be straightforward. No chasers. We want you all to keep it real with us.
We're going straight hard.
We going hard, man.
Do you want to go hard?
We're gonna go hard tonight. We're gonna go hard tonight.
Y'all gonna
Can we go hard
tonight?
Listen, the number is up on the screen, 424-390-6993. When we open it up for the calls, you all write this down, 424-390-6993. We're gonna open it up in a few minutes. Just to give you a little recap, because we were gone for a week. We've been talking about quite a myriad of subjects, but one we kind of shifted to was dealing with relationships as it pertains to what our current climate in America is now, right? Knowing that we're coming out of the martyrdom of George Floyd, dealing with the death of Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, and the too long of a litany of list of African Americans, primarily male, but some female that have been come victim of police brutality. And we've been kind of deal with that, right? The whole Black Lives Matter and everything. But we segue into relationships and what relationships look like now for Black within the Black community, and ultimately, what do interracial relationships look like as well? Is it okay? Are we losing Blackness? Are we gaining Blackness? Is there relevancy? Is there not relevancy? So we've been, we dibbled and dabbled with it a little bit. So tonight we're going to take it a little bit further, and we want you all to engage with us to see how it's going to go. All right, listen.
Why did it take you so long to make that point? This is the preachers just making point. This is what we're gonna talk about. He wants what the people want to know is will black men lose their black card if they date white women?
But not necessarily white women. Is it just out of your race? Period. Do you lose it?
No. Can you date white women? That's number one.
That's your perspective. I'm talking about our Asian sisters and even our Latino sisters. Do we lose something if they want to know? They don't want y'all to take their black card if they date outside their race. That's what we're going to talk about. That's number one. The other thing he wants to talk about is the state of black relationships, the respect value that they feel. You know what? I think, because I want to really bring up, and I think women need to talk about this. Has times changed? Do we need to redefine what it means to respect black men in 2020? Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Is it a difference? Am I still the man? Am I still the king? Or we need to throw it away looking at kingship? I want to know. So we're going to worry about it. She's in the building, y'all.
Oh, my sister. We're gonna bring her in a second. We're gonna let her
Queen of Sheba.
We're gonna let her get her bearings on her. She's coming in. Whoa. But we had to add some sisters into this conversation.
The Queen of Sheba's here.
We want to start a little bit of, we're not gonna start a lot of trouble, but we definitely gonna start trouble.
I just want to know.
And we're waiting on my sister, Reverend Dr. Najuma Smith Pollard, because I know she's
waiting on her. I'm not waiting on her.
I'm waiting on her perspective. Already. So my place
can he really pastor a black church with Jenny Chong on his as his first lady? That's what he want to know.
Right. I'm not particularly me, but if any black man, if he chooses, I don't know.
Talking about you,
but I don't want to hold it to the church though. But
he don't want to be
I think honestly, I think I would take a hit. I don't know why, but I probably would take a hit if I chose to
marry Jenny Chong,
date or marry an Asian woman, or date or marry a Latino woman, or date or marry a Caucasian woman. Probably because my congregation is predominantly black right now. But I think I would take that hit. And is that fair as a pastor to take that hit?
If you're gonna marry, this is my point to all y'all single preachers. If you're gonna get a Latino girl, she better be full Latino. She better know she needs to know all Spanish, so you can go on. If you lose 5 black people, you will gain 50 Latinos. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm not knocking you for that. If you're gonna get Jenny Chong, don't get Jenny Chong who got poetic justice braids. If you're gonna go, I always tell people, if you're going to go. Don't get the one who want to be black in the eyes. If you're going to get one, go on and get it.
But again, even if you go, are you losing something because you go? If you think you're going to lose, why is the loss there?
If you're going to date, I mean, who says that you have to date?
We're talking about perspective, not the man choosing, right? The man can choose whoever he choose, and the woman can choose. But why would I take an L?
Love ought to choose. See, that's the problem with y'all preachers. Y'all want to control. Preachers,
what are you talking about? Want to control. I'm talking about the people the perspective
if you in love
of. No, I'm not talking about the love. I'm saying if you chose, if I know you're married, well, I'm just using you as an example because you're here. I
love that light skinned girl.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying if you chose to date a Latino or Asian or Caucasian woman, why in the eyes of some people, whether it's your congregation, if it's a pastor, or another black man or whatever, why would the perception from some people in the black community be like you lost or you taking an L? Why would the pastor have to take an L?
That? I don't think that's necessarily the truth. I think everybody's not going to be excited that you got with somebody. I mean, this goes all the way back to the book of Moses, right?
Right. Yeah, Moses had to deal with it. He had
Moses dated an Egyptian.
Yeah, he had an African wife.
What was she, Egyptian? I mean, she was Egyptian wife. There's no race. So here goes a woman who's outside his ethnicity.
So, hey, Pastor Rashad, this is Reverend Juma.
I knew I heard somebody in my ear.
Did you see how she gonna sneak up on us like that? You see, trouble started just right now. Lord, listen, let us all rise. Please, hold on, y'all. We need to rise out our seat to give reverence and deference to the right reverend, the most reverend, of the episcopacy of in the Lord's church, the Reverend Dr. Najuma Smith Pollard. Come on, put your hands together, everybody.
Come on. Najuma Smith, Najuma is on, and they can't hear you on my phone. On my live, but Najuma's on. But that's okay, Najuma. I'm gonna interpret what you said.
Yeah, hey, you all that's on Frank's Live, y'all hop over. You all that's on Frank's Live, y'all hop over to my page, my Facebook page, or the YouTube channel, so you can hear the point of Reverend Dr. Najuma Smith Pollard. We're trying to bring it to every angle. So if you all hop on, that's viewing, hop over to my channel, the YouTube page, so we can hear Dr. Najuma. And we're on this topic, sis, and we gonna move before we get into pastors dating, right? Because we're going to get there. But first, from part one, you had made a particular statement as it referred to black men. And I can't remember the exact quote. Now I don't want to get you wrong, but you made a reference as to all meat ain't good for you. And it was somewhere around the white meat, that you had said, again, and I'm paraphrasing, how we do in the church. Like I'm paraphrasing. I'm eisegeting the text. Breast. I'm not exegeting the text. I'm eisegeting. So like you breast. Were talking about this white meat.
What's wrong with white meat breast?
And we wanted to talk to you about that because part two, some of the viewers, and I hope they come back in, they had, not angst with it, but they were like, wait a minute, that don't sound quite right. So can you give us a perspective on what you were talking about as far as your perspective of black men dating out their race? Is it only particularly white women and you may or may not have an issue with them, or does it go to Latino, our Asian, and our Caucasian?
Why do it take you so long to answer these ask these questions? That was like freaking 3. Okay, go ahead. It is your show.
It is my show.
So it is your show, Rashawn. Thank you.
So I can't hear her. There you go.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
He didn't have his headphones on.
Let me say this. I personally don't have a problem. I personally don't have a problem with anyone dating outside of their race. But I think what does happen sometimes is that when people have interracial relationships, what can happen and what does happen, what we see happen a lot here in America, when it comes to our black men dating outside of black race or black culture, is a loss of connection, a loss of heritage, where it can get whitewashed. And I'm not saying that it's just white girls, but it's like you can sometimes, not always, but sometimes that brother can move away from his culture and his heritage to the point now, as they're having children, the children may or may not learn about the richness of their culture, which again is before slavery. I'm going all the way back. And so I don't particularly personally have a problem with it, but I do see that is something that we see happen in this Western culture. And for a lot of times, it's a sign of affluence to marry outside of one's race. Because we've put so much value in it, and there were times where, I can remember in the 80s, where rappers began to like have crossover effect, and, they had, they were getting white girlfriends and the video girls, and the video girls got lighter and lighter and lighter. And again, I don't have a problem with anyone individually. It's just something that we see happening, we saw happening, and it was factual, it was happening. But it also became a sign of affluence to say, hey, I got this white girl, or I'm marrying a white woman and her father is this and that. And so, again, the challenge can be that sometimes what is lost is a person's connection to their rich culture and even to their heritage. Now, is that across the board? No. Is that absolute? No, because sometimes it's just the opposite. They're able to pull that white family into the black culture, and that family is able to learn more about black history that extends beyond slavery here in America. So, but it's not an absolute, but we do see that trend happen quite often.
I ain't gonna disagree with you too much because I need you to write me a letter of recommendation. But Najuma. No. I think no. That's real Najuma. That's real Najuma. The other part you trying to pull out of Najuma is you trying to pull off of the street Najuma. It's gonna come out because you're gonna say something crazy. Najuma. So let me say this. I think. So okay, I'm with you with I think the more African Americans try to ascribe into going higher in class, that everyone has to abandon, and that's just not African Americans, that's all across the board. The closer you go up the hierarchy, you need to adopt more Eurocentric ways. And it seems to me that the challenge is the higher we go up, the less I see sisters who are divorcing themselves from their heritage. So let's say if we had a lot of what was my girl name off of Fresh Prince, his cousin? What was my girl name? Hillary. If we had a lot of more black Hillarys, maybe I would marry her though. As I'm going up. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the reality. That's the reality for a lot of our athletes as well as our actors, is that as they, I don't want to use the word ascend as if they're better, but as they
ascend in white culture, assimilate. That's good.
Into spaces, there are fewer African American or black women, and you're right, that is across cultures, because this nation tends to be primarily ran by, when you think of the sports industry or the entertainment industry, you know, the majority of those that run and, you know, create space for entertainment and people getting together, they are more Eurocentric. So,
and doesn't it say I'm safe? Doesn't it say I'm safe though? I mean, like some reason it says I'm safe.
It says a lot. Yeah, it does. It says a lot of things. It says that you can. It says you're safe. It says that you're not like everybody else. It says that you have learned to adjust. And what can happen is for a lot of times people make those adjustments because they want the powers to be to feel comfortable with them, right? So if I show up with Susie, the producer or the athletic director will be more comfortable with me than if I showed up with a Najuma. And so there's all kinds of politics at play. And what we do know is some athletes and some actors have made those decisions because they had, you know, professional aspirations. We see that in politicians. And so it's, you know, and it happens.
And it's a certain type of white woman, though, I want to say, too. Like, because I want people, because I think we try to say it's just all white women. It's a certain type of white woman. See, Tiger Woods found out he got the wrong type of white woman. No. We need to come on.
We're gonna bring it because I want to bring another perspective into it. Right. Frank,
Tiger Woods got the wrong type of white woman. When she found out that he was out there, that there was a tiger in his woods, that he was one out there tearing that woman up, that woman threw bricks and things through his window. See, I thought she was black. And she did a black move. This is two black moves that you know. You can tell she hanged around with black women. She busted the windows out of his car. Y'all wrote a song about that and went to the top. And then not only that, and then she called her mama to move in. That's black woman's moves right there. Black women will bust the windows out your car and have your mama move in to make sure.
Michelle Obama, before Michelle Obama.
Not indicative of a black woman's move. That is a woman.
That's an angry woman.
Scorned move. That's an angry woman.
That's an angry.
And ain't no black.
All right, so let's. Najuma, let's bring another perspective in this, because I want to hear from another voice. My sister, she's here. Francesca White, she's here. She's joined us. Francesca, come on, speak to the people.
You ain't gonna put that on the black.
Wait. Hold on before you get Francesca, because he's still going. I'm gonna show you. There's two black women.
I wanted to
I want to understand this stuff.
Let's come in.
No, let me tell you why that's not a black woman.
Why is it not?
Let me correct you why it's not a black woman.
I'm gonna correct you. I got you.
Black women have been more patient with black men.
Oh, y'all gotta stop. Y'all want to tell y'all stuff this darn stuff.
Black women,
Jesus.
we tolerate so much that by the time we get to the place of busting windows out, you've already made.
So y'all acting like women. So y'all acting like women. No, y'all gonna act like women. Y'all acting like.
That is not a black woman.
White women, Latino women
Asian
deal with
women.
the same
Same.
doggy dog. It's a dog.
But it's not a black woman thing. That's
not-
the whole
okay.
thing.
Not a black
Talk
My
to us.
case in point. Thank you. There's a video of a man having a lunch with a lady in a Mexican restaurant,
Mhm.
and his
she is
wife
going off.
walks in and
She goes off.
immediately begins slapping him, and then grabs her by her hair. And then when they finally get her to let go, she grabs her again and pulls her all the way down to the ground, drops
Latino.
her weight and holding. So it's not
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
black thing.
Latino women are black women with
Listen,
longer hair.
they made a whole movie. They made a whole movie about a white woman getting mad at a man for she chose a different life. He wasn't gonna let her go, and what did she do? She had to do what? Kill
Cut
Bill.
off his-
Mm.
But can I say this? All I said
and
was
don't
black women
forget about
are
the
the
one
ones
that
that will
cut off
bust
the
the window out your car and move their mama in. That's all I
And
said.
don't forget
Watch this.
No.
First lady, the best, greatest black woman ever in this generation is
Well, I agree with you on that one.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle
She
Obama.
moved her mama into the White House. You ain't never heard of that. Meghan Markle
Are you kidding
was the
me?
first
You
black
know-
woman to invade.
But it wasn't because she had to bust windows out.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it was that. I'm just saying black women are known to move their
No,
mama
you know
in
what?
to give them some support.
But you know why? You
Because
know
y'all
why?
so much. Like,
Yes.
You come
No,
okay.
no. But let's deal with the historical. Let's deal with the historical nature.
Oh, here
of
we
this.
go. Yes.
Black women have always leaned towards the village concept, and the village concept is I don't hire someone else to take care of my kids. I bring my mama, my cousin, my
Right.
grandmama in. That's not black women want to take over by mama, I need support. That is black women who tend to hold on to the village concept, because the village
I'm not
concept, if you
knocking
don't hire someone else on the outside to come take care of your kids like other people tend to do, you bring your family in. You have your brother, you have your, but you don't have all these other people coming in your house. It's the village concept, and black women tend to lean into that, especially when they start having children.
Yeah, and that's
So
why
it
them
is not- it
generational
is not-
cycles don't
It
break.
is not. No, that's not true. The
Yeah, you
village
are. You
concept
keep them-
is what kept you alive. The village concept is what keeps black people and black culture alive.
I'm from the Bible. Najuma, Abraham said, Abraham, get thee from thy country and that kindred and go to a faraway country. You know why he said go to a faraway country? I'm going to tell you why the Lord said that. Because he knew that Abraham was going to want him a concubine, not in the name of Hagar. I'm telling you, if he would have stayed home by his people and Sarah's mama would have found a Hagar, they would have killed Ishmael instead of sending him into the woods. Now, y'all think I'm playing. I'm trying to help y'all in here today.
Leave him alone.
Okay.
Francesca, speak to.
Your interpretation is so off.
Right,
but I
Amy.
love it.
But listen, Francesca, speak to
That's-
what Najuma was talking
That's the
about
Message
earlier.
Bible.
Where do you land on where do you land on the interracial dating? Are you cool with it? Let's not only deal with black men, let's deal with black women as well. Are you okay with do you think blackness is lost if a black man or black woman dates outside of their race? Is there losing? Or you want to black men date black women, period, point blank?
no, I don't believe that you lose your blackness because you marry outside of your race.
Gotta call this show.
My godmother was a school police officer, and she got injured on her job, and the district sent a private investigator out to the school to interview her, and the gentleman that they sent was a white man. But he was fine to her.
See,
and she was fine to him.
okay.
And so, after they finished the interview and all that stuff, preliminaries were done, they left outside the school. He handed her his card and he said, I want you to give me a call when you feel comfortable. And he said his reason for doing it like that was because he understood that you might not be into dating a white guy.
Right.
They have now been married over 28 years and have 2 grown children that have graduated from college, and they don't exhibit any signs of missing some pieces of blackness.
Okay.
and you know how sometimes people associate Black people with sports, like that's the only way they can, you know, do things, whatever. And then, you know, I always thought about, man, well, she was always into sports and he's white. And this is as a child, so my understanding was limited. But white men can't jump. You know,
they were.
that was my little concept then. So growing up, I always watched like how things played out, and they ended up being amazing. Not only in their academics, but they were amazing at any sport they decided to try. And so then I started looking at how they would get along with other children that are not biracial. They weren't missing anything. They're acclimated to both. So I really don't feel like
Did they have small feet?
No, they did not have small feet.
Just asking.
They didn't have small
Here
feet.
you go.
Just asking some questions.
All has been well with the
all
children.
is well.
Yes.
Okay.
All is well.
Okay.
You know,
So,
now, am I an advocate for Black love? Of course. Do I believe that there's some richness in sharing the culture, sharing the experience, some things not having to explain? But then I also know that depending on how you were raised, there's still some things interculturally that you might not have experienced.
Right.
Which is how we get the concept of constantly wanting to pull somebody's Black card.
Right.
Because like for me, I haven't seen Juice all the way through and probably can't remember any other scenes in Boys in the Hood except for Lawrence Fishburne and them balls going back and forth in his hand real fast. I'm like, how did he do that with the little child? Whatever you call it. You know, so it's little things like that where we want to pull Black cards, but there's definitely a richness. There's definitely a richness.
You know you ain't Black if you don't watch Juice.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I looked at you kind of funny,
I'm
like,
sorry,
Juice,
it's
you know
okay.
what I'm saying?
It's okay.
Menace to Society,
It's
like
okay.
you don't.
New
Like,
Jack City over here for me.
oh, New Jack. All right.
I'm a Harlem
That's-
Nights girl. You know, I'm
Oh,
20s
she
mafia.
was-
Yeah, right. Shoot in your mouth.
That's
So-
Black 101.
Exactly. You know, so there are some things that I know I might check out every now and again when it comes to that. But that has to do with my Christian upbringing. There were certain movies I wasn't
just
allowed
couldn't
to
watch because
Right.
we was holy.
You know what I'm
You know
saying?
what I'm saying?
We supposed to be holding up the bloodstained banner,
Yeah,
not
come on.
throwing up blood signs. So,
Come on.
you know, it
Would
was
you
all
marry?
for the blood of Jesus, though.
Would you marry a white man?
yes,
Absolutely.
I would.
Oh, you said that was some convict. See, that's
Cool.
that USC in you, Najuma.
Najuma.
That's that
Najuma.
USC
No, that's
in you.
Najuma
She
said,
said,
no, that's
absolutely.
Najuma said, I've tried y'all Negroes. I gave y'all
I
a
gave y'all a
chance.
chance. She said,
I
absolutely.
gave y'all mercy
Man,
upon mercy.
like she didn't even breathe.
I'm serious.
Absolutely.
If you had
Absolutely.
now, granted, if you had asked me this question maybe 10 or 15 years ago, it would have been a strong no. But you got to experience some things, and you have to, go through it.
Yeah, and you older now.
You had
want
some good days
credit.
and some
that-
bad days.
you
You
want
had
that
some
good
hills
credit.
to climb.
And I think
You found out.
But that's not to say that there are not any Black men that they're not an anomaly.
Somebody got to say you need to answer your friend request. They
they're trying to get on.
You
Oh,
got
man.
the thing
page.
secreted. That's
I'm-
why
I'm
you
not-
single.
I'm sorry.
Because you got
Listen,
stuff
I'm
secreted.
sorry,
Why are you
Facebook.
trying to hide? You're a public figure.
Listen, Facebook, I'm trying to do a show. I can't answer friend requests and do the show
Gotta
at the same
multitask,
time.
Doc.
I'm multitasking
You got to
all at the same time. Let me get up out of here.
When I start talking, that's your opportunity to do it.
Let's do this. How do we shift? Because we want to get to that. Najuma, you were married before.
Can you share that on my
married
page?
before. I believe I can, man. You do
Just
this
give me
as
the
we
thing.
transition. I was married before. You were married
Ooh.
before. Frank
they're asking
was
some
married
questions.
before, and he is now married. What do you
No,
think?
Frank was not married before.
Oh, he
Hold
wasn't?
on.
I'm sorry.
hold on.
I'm sorry.
I've only married one time.
I'm sorry.
My what happened was I was creeping and preaching, and I had a baby
Okay.
out of wedlock. Tell the truth now. You got to tell my
I'm trying
story.
to make this short of
Tell
story.
my
Right.
story.
Listen, so for this last part of the show, let's dive into when we all at church, PKs in here, can pastors date? And if pastors can date, how do we date? Because can we date normally like anybody else? Because I think there may be a
date in
different
sackcloth
and ashes. Come on, Francesca. Is it
just
fair?
playing.
Is the playing field going to be fair for pastors that are single to be able to date? Because I don't know if the rules are going to be the same for us as they are for everybody else.
The rules are never the same
Right.
for people in
Yeah, they're not
ministry for anything. We don't get any.
So that
passes.
means the pew the pew, my members, if they're single, they can date who they will. I'm not talking about who you bring in front of people, but they can date who they will. But the pastor that's single, he can't date and have the same guidelines to dating.
Well, so to answer your question, can pastors date? If they have a desire for a relationship, they should date. Now, if you're a pastor and you don't have a desire for a relationship with someone, then the answer is no. But for those of us that have desires for a relationship,
what type of pastor don't have no desire?
Wait, because I was about to go down the left side of the street. Well, some they don't want a relationship; they desire relations.
Hold by.
Okay,
I'm gonna let you go ahead, sis.
Then dating is necessary. And I think where the rules are different, it's not so much that the dating rules are different, it's the presentation, right? Like there's a level of discretion I think have to walk with mainly because you don't want people to think, is a being. And so I think it is healthy for pastors to our discretion. But as far as how me and a guy date, it's the same dating rules. I mean, it's still, it needs to be healthy, not toxic.
Right.
And dating is for the purpose of discovery and finding out if this is someone that I want to spend my life with or spend some time with for long term.
Can I ask a question?
So those rules don't change.
Yeah.
Sis, I have a question for you. So, how do they handle dating publicly? Because what I think where Hall is going with this is how it's perceived from the audience, how the people in the pews see your dating. So when do you go public with that person?
Yeah, I think you go public once both adults have discussed it, and there's been a conversation around are you here for the short term or the long term? Because it's no different than my children, right? I wouldn't bring this on around my children who's just here for a date or for a couple of days or for the night. But if they're going to be long term, then at some point you get to meet my kids. And so I think the church should be managed in the same way. And mainly because discretion is just important. When you are a person where 50 eyes are looking at you and you're only one, you have to flow with discretion. And that's passive, but that's anybody in leadership. You have to flow at the level of discretion. And I think it's when both adults have decided that we're in it, we're going to be in this thing for a minute. I'm here, you're here, we're going to do this thing. And then, come to my church or, come hear me preach or vice versa. So, and I think, go ahead.
Now, Jim, I think the challenge is this. We first of all need to deal with dating in the African American context. There are some rules that are happening in dating that are making our relationships failures. Because then the pastor is playing the same rules and now it's going to hurt more people because his failure is now elevated because he's elevated in it. And so there's some failing rules in black in black dating that we got to deal with. It's a reality, and the church has to deal with it because the church is a part of it.
That's fair.
Because a lot of people are dating, or a lot of people they are they're lying.
Right.
And a lot of it comes along with we need to be truthful. There's some things that you might date because you having sex with and it's cool, but that scripture better marry than burn don't mean that the person you out there having, crazy wild sex is the person you need to marry. And there's some things like that we need to engage, because then what happens? Or when somebody get pregnant, well then you got to just marry them. No.
Right.
No,
you gonna mess up everybody's life. So, but the pressure is on us and we have to move in those areas. And these are some things that are ingrained in black tradition that we're going to have to break. We're going to have to knock. We really have to engage. And how we look and say, well, somebody had kids out of wedlock and, what does that look like? And it's just a bunch of stuff.
It's been looking like for years. There are so many people. And it's one of those things of how long do you judge a person according to their past. If they, if they've changed and they're doing things in a different, how long do you continue to hold that over somebody's
I think
head?
if we're gonna talk about the church, people judge because people judge other people. I've seen some of the time because they've done that. They can't, right? They've done it, but their dirt ain't been found out.
Right.
So so you're judging somebody and you have an aggressive tone towards somebody that made the same mistake you made, but don't nobody know you made that that mistake.
Exactly.
So you come in extremely hard for the person that made this mistake. And wait a minute, hold on.
But
like, how did y'all in the church, right? How did all y'all mothers in the church got 10, 15 kids? All of them just got the same daddy. Y'all ain't gonna talk about it, right? You know what I'm saying? Somebody ain't talk about because the old church took stuff to their grave,
right.
But now you got these Generation X or millennials that want to acclimate themselves to the church, but they get assassinated by making general mistakes from the previous generation that made the same mistakes.
Right.
But the mothers covered you. But now all of a sudden you don't want to extend no grace, but y'all want folk to be in the church. So, even looking at one of the comments on YouTube, Sister Lady Truthful, she said Lord. People don't treat pastors fairly in anything, especially dating. That was her thing, like especially dating. And I'm like, wow,
but that's our problem.
Because now that I'm in the first chair, right? I'm in the first chair now, sis, right? Najuma, you've been in the first chair longer than me. I'm just now in the first chair. When I was in the second chair, I was married. I think and I haven't adapted to what is life going to be like now in the first chair. But now I'm single. Right, I'm single now, and how do I maneuver around this? And how do I make it fair? I don't want to make the wrong choice, right? Of who I'm gonna marry. What type of latitude or longitude do I have to date in the city of Los Angeles? So I got to be this whole secretive person, and people don't even want you to be.
We're gonna get you a psychologist. But crazy.
I'm not talking. I mean secretive. I'm talking about discretion.
Right.
Right, the discretion. I didn't mean to say secretive, but you know what I mean. Discretion and all that kind of stuff. So let's bring our sister. I see her, but she getting herself together.
Lucretia Clark.
That's wisdom.
This is not my show. You gotta be a little more professional. No, I'm just trying to tell her. Go ahead. It's wisdom.
It's wisdom.
Right, but then some people, like, here's the other side, the flip side of the coin. They may say, "Hey, are you being secretive because we don't know?" Right? Somebody's always gonna have the other flip side of the coin.
This Negro got some.
I'm just
psychologist.
Who are your
Rashika or somebody.
I'm not talking about my members because my members haven't attacked me with this. I'm not talking. My members have.
My Negro going through, baby.
Again, I'm just talking. I know. I'm just blankly talking. My members haven't attacked me, but I'm like, I've seen single pastors.
It's called just being a proactive thought. Right? How is this gonna play out?
Let's bring our other sister, and she's walking around. Lucretia. Hey, Cree, you in here? Talk to us. Can pastors date? Is it fair? Is the playing field fair? Can pastors have? Can we date like everybody else, or can pastors got to do it different?
I believe it's not fair. Can you guys hear me?
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. You got to unmute. If you can hear us, we can't hear you.
I can hear you guys, but can you
hear me? Hear you.
I have it on. I can hear you guys, but you guys can't hear me.
I'm trying to read your lips, and you said I can hear you, but we can't hear you. But Anthony gonna try and bring you back, So
let me say this though. Let me rock this. Let me rock.
I don't know.
We can't have it both ways. Right. Now, this era of transparency, you want to keep it real. You want to tell your business.
Can y'all hear me?
One of the problems is preachers got to stop going to the same place the saints go to. You can't be dating.
May the Lord watch.
You can't date
between me and
you can't date the saints. You can't date the saints and go to the same place the saints go to. There is areas the saints don't go. And you need to find those areas.
Like strip clubs.
That's the problem I have.
That's called discretion.
That's called discretion.
Yeah.
You can't be dating and going up to Torrance to eat. That's where all the black people in LA go to eat, is in Torrance.
Come on.
Put your hands together for the one, the only.
Wait a minute. I got an important question. What's in Torrance? I'm missing something.
Ain't nothing in Torrance. Ain't nothing in Torrance.
That's where all the church people. That's where all the church people.
Over there by Benny Hunters.
That's where all the church people go to, where they believe that we have arrived and they need to eat. They go to Torrance to feel like they went out. Bars. Yes, all the church people, all your church people is drinking at Torrance with the other church people.
At the canteen.
That's how they got
Torito Grill.
Wait a minute. How you know Lucretia? How she know? Wait,
Lucretia Clark is your turn.
I have a different reason. I'm fat, so I know all the restaurants. I can tell you the city where the food is.
Where in Torrance? You don't need to be there, Najima.
I don't drink. I don't drink.
Where in Torrance is this?
Najuma, you don't need to go to Torrance. We don't want you to have no Najuma. We want you. If you gonna ever get, if you date again, you gonna date a Jew. You gonna get a Jewish man.
Let's bring Lucretia. Creed, what say you? Help us. Help this conversation.
I believe that the field is not fair, but it should be, because who your pastor date is not your business.
Right.
How about?
I just believe that. We don't care who our teachers date. We don't care who our doctors date when they leave the office. So why is it our business what our pastor is doing? As long as they're doing what they're supposed to do when they get in that pulpit, I can care less what my pastor does when he get home. It's not my job to judge.
Well, your doctor don't get. I don't know what happened to your phone. I just don't know what happens to your phone.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? She there? We just delay. I'm with you. Like,
no, why you with her?
Because she's arguing is that the playing field for dating needs to be fair across the board.
Your pastor, your doctor didn't get a big chair and y'all sitting there and say all praises.
Well, this is the problem.
Your teacher on Teacher Appreciation only gets
okay. So this is the problem, Frank.
A love offering.
This is the problem then, Pastor Oliver. The problem is we allow people to put us on a pedestal and then make us feel like we have a right to your life and then get mad when we have an opinion about it. If you don't want us to have an opinion about your life, then keep your life from in front of us.
If I got to pay and give an offering to your little kids going to the first family, I got to pay and give an offering to the wifey for her to whatever y'all got the first lady offering. I'm gonna be in y'all business.
You said the first lady.
No. If I'm putting money, I'm investing. Who doesn't watch their investments?
But just because I pay a copay when I go to the doctor, that don't mean I'm in the doctor's business.
No, that's a copay. That's a fee. That's a fee. Y'all said this is sowing. Sowing is an investment. You look for an harvest. I sold into the first lady.
Yeah.
Oh, the preachers don't like this.
Listen.
I'm about to lose my preacher card, boy.
Listen here. It's my business who I date and what I do when I leave that pulpit. If you choose to get in my business, you gonna choose to be at the altar next Sunday, because I'm gonna do some things that you may not agree with.
No, we guess what? About your life.
We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it.
Oliver, I have a question for you, sir. This is a real question, because it sounds like you're saying that pastors should be having intimate conversation. When I mean intimate, I mean close. I'm not talking about sexual intimate, but intimate conversation with their parishioners. And I think that might be part of the challenge, because
that is the challenge.
I decide who has an intimate engagement with my personal space.
Exactly.
Are you saying that you're having intimate conversation with your parishioners? Where if they're in your office, you're telling them who you're dating and what you're doing behind closed doors?
I'm not saying that, because I don't tend to live my life where I believe we built this church culture of lifting up pastors and open access.
I have the right to say that's not your business.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is we have to ask: have we built a certain culture of inviting people into our world that we should?
Yes, we have. But you know why that is, Oliver?
So when I'm sitting up there and I put up my kids and be like, "Oh, my kids ain't had a vacation, and you got a vacation fund for my kids," well, then don't I have the right to ask, did the kids have a good time?
I'll post it on Facebook.
Yeah, but asking you to have a good time and who was your special guest is two different questions.
So I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna say this. Here we go. If there's one thing. So your profession, you work and you get a check for your profession. Now we know in the church, there are churches who the person works and gets a check, and also we still got love offerings.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I just feel like now you have told me the reason how you give me the giving the love offering, because I paid my tithe. So the love offering is also now a offering that is it's a over.
That's your tip.
It's a free will offering. And
That's
the way
your tip.
you give the free will offering, you told me that I need to sow into the man of God. If I sow into the prophet, I get a prophet's reward.
That's a tip.
Reaping. That is called investment. Hold on. So all I'm saying in that notion is if I'm investing in giving I invested with your love gift and your love gift was down there at the Barbie Coast making it rain, I should just still
Then you mind your business. Because you helping somebody. You mind your business.
No,
that's
because
not your profession. I'm not paying you for
because you
gave a gift.
You gave a gift.
You don't tell me what to do.
Dictate.
I didn't say dictate. I have a right. There is no other place you can give money and have no accountability except in the black church.
What do you? I mean,
you know what you gave it for. You gave a gift to your pastor.
It's different.
That's accountability.
It's a gift, bro.
And any money that's given as an offering, that's given to God.
Y'all give a gift to your children and get mad where you don't know where they didn't put the toy at. You give gifts to your woman, and if your woman don't wear the gift, you won't get her a gift.
Because that's the nature of that relationship. Sir, that's the nature of that relationship.
But if you give somebody a gift, you're supposed to be appreciative of said gift. If I tell you thank you and I show you appreciation for the gift that you've given me, that doesn't give you expectations to come into my personal life.
Nowhere else. It sounds good. Preachers love it for them. Yes, ma'am.
No, this is my issue.
Hold on. Yes, ma'am.
Right, I'm gonna help you. Don't ever give Najuma no money because I ain't telling you nothing about my life.
I didn't say. First of all, Najuma, I don't want to know, and I'll be scared you might really tell me. So I really won't. But what I'm saying is I think we have to rethink. I personally give money and don't care. I think we need to rethink because we build this perception when we give to our kids and we ask questions other than the gift with our kids. When I give a gift,
that is the nature of that relationship.
Your children are not. That's not the same discussion as the pastor.
The children of God.
I'm just.
Can I say something?
You did on the
right.
What I'm talking about.
Can I say something?
Expectation.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. They don't want this.
People, I think, generally put on the pastor that there is a certain invasion that members may perceive that they have into the pastor's business, and we're particularly.
You know what? Can I say something?
Same thing.
Go ahead, Creek.
I believe that we as members, because I'm not a pastor, I believe we as members want to know who our pastor is dating, because half of the time the pastor is dating somebody in the church. And so what happened? So that's the problem. The problem is the pastor plays where he works.
Okay.
So that becomes the issue, because now you're dating somebody in the choir, you dating somebody on the usher board, and you dating Sister Sally that sing on the praise team over at the church down the street. So that's why people feel like they need to be in the pastor's business.
Creek, that's bull. Creek, I want to cuss you out. I'm trying to stay. I'm trying to stay. No. I'm trying to stay in one lane, and then you make me go jump it. Let me say something.
No. That's why we want to know who's the pastor is dating.
No, you want to know who the pastor is dating.
We don't care. We don't care who he's married to. Let me finish.
No.
Can I finish, Frank? Let me finish.
And who you essentially be.
Let me finish.
Go ahead. The day is 3-2, man. Go ahead. We out.
We don't care who the pastor marries. We care who he dates. Because we don't understand that dating.
Some ladies that messed up more churches than anybody I know. That's a damn.
But I'm just saying.
I'm a Baptist.
You are Baptist.
Gospel.
No. You ain't gonna put that on the Baptists that we don't know how to conduct ourselves.
Missionary Baptist. Y'all know that now.
We have decorum.
I personally feel like the reason why we want to know who's the pastor's dating, because we've seen so many pastors fall in the process of dating. They get caught up, they have babies, there are scandals and things like that. So we're protecting the church. And for me, I can say,
so
who he marries is not my business. But pastor, who you dating? Is it somebody in the church? Is it somebody down the street? We want to know, because we want to make sure she's not a Delilah, she's not a Jezebel, or whatever the case may be.
You need to know.
That's fair from a member's perspective.
The members need to understand. It is important to know who the pastor dates, because the pastor is a representative and his family is a representative of you. That is very important. Hold on. You want me to let him finish?
Okay,
I'm telling you that we too busy worried about who he's dating instead of worrying about really who's the serious one. I don't really give a darn if he down at the street slapping the strippers behind. I don't care.
I do.
Know who you gonna bring on this front row who represents and models the women of this church. Because if you bring somebody in here with a bitter, nasty attitude, she represents the church. She represents, and she's going to cause
him.
Church. But that's what she's talking about.
Him.
You said date. You talked about. She said the reason, from a member's perspective, the reason why she's looking into dating from a member's perspective.
And she said, "I don't care."
You caring
she
about?
Said, "We don't care who he marries." And
right.
I'm saying you need to
about
switch
the marry
that.
part. I'm saying
switch. I'm saying no. I'm saying switch it. I don't care if your pastor is single and he's out there dating. Number one, this is what you care about with the old preacher. See, the problem is these new preachers ain't got no daddies to tell them, son, the kitchen and the bathroom is on two sides of the house. You don't SH where you cook at. Therefore is you shouldn't be screwing these women out in these different churches. Right. Number one. That's number one, because you don't want it to get back. Number two.
They don't talk.
Son, then when you are ready to have a real, and I'm saying son, but Najum, I mean women too. When you're ready to have a real relationship, then we'll talk about that later. Then we need to engage that kind of thing, because again, your job. See, the problem I have with us, we want influence but no responsibility.
That part.
At the end of the day, we are a representative of the people.
Right.
And therefore, you are yoked, and the people have a voice in what's going on in your daily affairs. If you don't want it, then don't take the job. Or don't be so dependent on the job.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. There is no quarrel with anything that you're saying in regard to how the people view it. All Cree is saying is that from a member's perspective, the idea, and it differs depending on the situation. If the pastor is dating people in the church, then you kind of want to know who he's dating, because certain people have certain things that come along with them.
Right, but I don't know how many people. I don't agree with her. I think I've been around church for about 30 some odd years.
Okay,
and I think really the majority of preachers who have something to lose tend not to date in the church. Now, so what happens is,
but the foolishness happens.
But what happens is he gives her that good, and then she want to now come attend the church.
So
but
dating is separate from sleeping with. Because you just tap into a whole nother realm now, because first of all, if a pastor is sleeping,
plus wide another one.
I'm saying, if you sleeping and dating and you out here showing your royal sanctified oaths, that's a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
We have some members. We have some members in here. I'm looking at
Dr.
Facebook.
Najuma is quiet as a Catholic.
Venus is talking about.
You just can't hear her. She's talking.
Venus. One of our comments. Najuma Venus. I think she's on a member side. She's talking about the psychologist of dating and different things like that. It's different between a marriage. And then Sherika, who's another member, she said, "I'm not worried about who my pastor's dating, but Mary says something different." Right. So I think we're getting some members' input on that. to some members, dating only matters if you're dating in the church from some members' perspective. If you're dating people in the church,
it still matters
members
because
may
that
have
relationship
an issue,
will affect your pastor. So you know, depending on how the situation is going, depending on how the relationship is going, you'll know that he's in something that might not be that healthy for him. So you're gonna care because he's still responsible for the sheep. And if he's not being responsible for himself, no, it is not the church's job to police the pastor. If limitations.
That's what I have a concern.
Exactly.
It sounds like what you were saying, Frank, is that
like the people are supposed to police because they gave to his love offering.
What? Yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all.
I have a question.
Hold on. We didn't have all this perversion. All out. When the chairman of the deacon board had, how many babies out of wedlock was made, and the chairman of the deacon board would just send that check down there and make sure.
I need help. Listen, Frank is dealing with some stuff here.
We'll let y'all Negroes y'all think y'all are kings and queens.
No, this is the problem.
You need a chairman. You need man. Everybody need Olivia Pope in their
this is the problem. Can I say something? This is what I believe the problem is. I believe that I believe that we don't know how to date. That's the problem, because you can date somebody and it not be your business, but when you sleep with somebody, it then becomes the business because that spirit is now on the pastor.
Hey, I get married.
So that's the problem. We need to define what is dating, because you can date somebody, go out to dinner, you can pursue them and see if they're qualified or whatever the case may be. But once y'all spirits intertwine and you lay down, it then becomes the business, because that spirit, that harlot Jezebel spirit, is now on the pastor. He's running around rapid, and now he's over here and it's transferring all throughout the church.
He's gathering together.
That's the problem. Who you date is not our business. But you only should be sleeping with the person you're married with.
You gotta gather financial data. It's all type of data. Why y'all acting like they ain't the same thing? Najuma, help me out here today. Doesn't the Bible talk about layers of data?
Oh my Lord, Creed, get your brother.
Najuma, get off the line.
Did we lose Najuma? Get her back.
Najuma.
But no, we got people in the comments. I see you, YouTube. Y'all saying that part, the dating. Then there's because there's variables to this. If the pastor is dating, we good with that. Now, if the pastor start dating somebody ratchet, now his spirit.
How do they know that if he wasn't where they
now we got an issue?
Because if he sleeps with her, their spirits become one. And a lot of times, whether y'all want to admit it or not, there's a lot of pastors and preachers that are having premarital sex. So they're just not dating. They're sleeping with people. So that's where the conflict comes in. Date who you want to date.
You're talking about? You talking about how the members know? You the one that gave them license to get in folk life. What you mean how they know?
First of all, I said. So let me back up a little bit, because y'all get so emotional. And this is the problem I got with the church. Y'all get emotional. You hear what you want to hear.
I'm hearing everything you said.
Preachers need to redefine how they all this when you allow people to invest all this money in you, then people have a certain amount of say so. That's in every other business. So therefore, in my world, what I don't do is be over there asking people for a whole bunch of money and a whole bunch of stuff, because that's what I want, my freedom, because I am not beholden to anybody. If you ask anybody in the political world, any other world, when people give money to that, they have a beholding. You go to education, you have a holding to the donors. If you go to
you have to cater to your stakeholders.
You have to cater to your stakeholders.
Right. I believe that. I believe that.
If only 10%, if only 10% of the church, or 20% if you got it good, tithe 10%, those are called stakeholders.
Yeah.
And those stakeholders, if they are always given to the baby fund, the diaper fund, the wife need a health fund, the pastor need more shoes fund, and I'm not talking about you just making a dollar.
See, that's a bigger issue, though. That's an even bigger issue.
I'm going to get in
Frank.
your business.
Okay, yeah, you have a reason to. That's a bigger issue because that pastor has shown himself to be completely dependent upon
Exactly.
giving. So that's that aspect of it.
And that's the only thing I'm talking about.
But
now the other part is
to your credit, in regards to the stakeholders, there is a certain level of dignity and decorum that the pastor is supposed to conduct himself with.
That should be
he cannot.
good
That's
for stakeholders.
just. That's
come
just.
on, talk to me, friend.
I'm just saying
because you remember me before I was married.
But the thing, right? Yes, I do. Lord
You remember?
Jesus.
No, I'm just saying. Before I was married, you remember me before I was married.
Yes, and
Yes.
My wife, when I brought my wife around, my wife wasn't no rat. She wasn't no. When I brought my wife around, she was gonna be the one. Everybody else, I didn't have no scandal. Well, I had one. The only one I had. No, listen. The only one I had was I went against my belief system and dated somebody at a church. And when I dated somebody at a church, that's a scandal. But anything else, the only people who knew who I was dating, what I was doing, was my friends. You know why?
the circle.
Right. You know why? Because I didn't go party with the saints.
Right.
I didn't hang
Exactly.
with saints
But
stuff.
I'm it feels like you're arguing both sides of the coin because you're saying the saints have access if they give me a love offering.
But
I have a job. No, I didn't say if they have a love offering. I was trying to say y'all have all these damn offerings.
I don't
that
have
y'all
all these
giving.
offerings.
Well,
then
you
it
the one
doesn't
taking it
pertain. It's
personal.
not your shoe. You're not wearing that shoe. That's what he's doing. He's giving you this one aspect of it with all of these factors involved, and then here's the flip side of it.
Right.
I
He's
stayed.
playing devil's advocate.
What I do is this. I work. I make my money.
Right.
So when somebody do
But
come to
I'm
me
gonna
and
tell
say,
you what that makes
Pastor,
people
who
hear,
you
Frank.
dating? I don't give a damn.
No,
It don't matter.
Frank.
I don't think it's
But
like
it's the
that.
thing. But when you say it like that, then it makes it seem as though, okay, because I'm not beholden to you, you don't get to tell me nothing about what I do. But you still have a level of accountability,
Right.
as the leader, that you just can't do what you said you had done in your past. You're not sleeping around with everybody else. And then when you did bring, and you're right, when you did bring your wife around, as your girlfriend or as your fiance, like this is who it was going to be. It wasn't. I didn't see a bunch of other people, and I can speak because I saw. So it
I
wasn't.
introduced two.
That other one, we had to get rid of that other one.
You shut up. I got him off your tail. Now get off my
let's talk
brother.
about that.
No, we're not going to talk about it.
Even if I,
Jesus, I was trying to get you out, bro.
anytime I
I'm
introduce,
neutral with y'all.
right? But anytime I introduce somebody, and I said this was wife material, that you didn't hear me.
It's a whole nother conversation that I've been waiting to hear, and that's the idea of a wife and a trophy.
Where the hell are we going tonight?
We went to that dating,
That's
I'm gonna log off.
and y'all didn't.
All right, go ahead. I gotta talk to. Go off the phone, Creek.
Creek, stay. Don't you go
It's
no.
still about to get on a whole nother level. It's about to go.
You better not go
saying.
nowhere, Creek.
This show went all wild.
I'm
This
sorry.
is
I just want to get us out the offering plate and get back
Right.
into
So
relationships.
let's get it
I
off
think
our
when
plate.
you're going from dating, I think the expectation with dating is that you would hope that whoever is chosen at the end becomes a wife. The impetus of the question was, can a pastor date? Because the first
If a
person you
pastor
date
gets a
may not
salary-
be right.
If a
We're not
pastor
talking
get a
about
salary-
sleeping with nobody.
Right.
We're talking about just the activity of dating.
Dating.
Right, that's all I'm talking about. I'm
Fact
not talking
check
about
dating.
sexual intercourse and all that other
Right.
stuff. I'm talking about, can a pastor equally date like another single individual to
No.
be
He
able?
should be able to.
People are.
I mean,
people
you
are-
He
can
should be able to.
listen.
Now,
You
but
can,
people are in
the
your
discretion
business,
part.
right?
but listen.
If you're dating, people are in your business because people who are invested in you. This is all I'm saying. Is if you start dating, your mama gonna be in your business. Yo, they gonna. I'm gonna be in your
but it's
business.
levels to it. It's levels to the access that the person has.
Right.
But the thing is, when a pastor is dating, it's not like you can just date any and everybody. Oh, that didn't work out. That didn't work out. That didn't work
Well,
out.
they
Because
be
then
doing it.
people look at you. Well, that don't mean it's right. But then that makes people look at you and say, okay, well, you might need to fine tune what it is that you're looking for. I mean, granted, you can't make a situation work, but in the event that it doesn't work, then people are looking to see how are you going to
Conduct yourself.
a disconnect from it. You know, it's sometimes the disconnect is what makes the problem. People
What
don't have a
happened to
problem
Juma?
with the situation. Is she back? Juju, you back? Okay. Okay. You know, that tends to be the problem. The disconnect from the relationship, and then how soon or how fast you move on. It's the same thing.
Okay, look, can I say something?
Y'all so crazy. Y'all made a
Can I say something? This is how I feel. This is how I feel.
We don't care how you feel, damn it.
We got a comment on Facebook, and I think it's pertinent. And this is my mom's comment, and she used to be a first lady.
Okay.
Right. So I think she's a member of my church. She used to be a first lady. So let's see what the comment. Hey, mom, it's my mom. So she says members giving to the church does not dictate the right to get in the personal life of the pastor. You give unto God, not the right to get into the pastor's business. Learn how to pray for your pastor. Now, I believe she's talking from a mother's perspective because she's my mom. And she's talking from and she's talking from a perspective of being a former first lady as well.
Can I say this? I love your mama.
You know you love my mama.
I love your mama. I love you. This is all I'm saying. I want to make a difference of giving to the Lord. Mm-hmm. And given to some of these funds.
We're not talking about that.
Your children's babysitting ain't got nothing to do with the Lord.
But we're not. She's just speaking
because this is what you're mad. Because what I'm trying to say is there are some. Come on, y'all. We've been in church long enough. We know these games.
I get it, but everybody like that.
Can I say something?
You gonna have to wait till I get done. Where's your husband? I'm gonna tell him to check your spirit.
You gonna make her go off, and I ain't gonna say a word.
She gonna say that. She gonna say that.
I'm this close.
Because I got her husband on speed dial. I know how to get her now, boy. I got her. I know how to grab her now.
And you call him, you better believe I'm gonna simmer down. That's what I'm supposed to do.
I know. That's it. What I'm saying to you is, we have to ask ourselves in a public servant manner. This is why we're so disconnected. In any public servant place, your lifestyle is going to play a role in the position that you hold.
I believe that.
Congressperson, right. That's what your pastor. Right. Now we believe. Now guess what? This is all I'm gonna say. Who your congressperson takes money from, he knows he has beholding to in some sense. And all I'm saying is maybe they don't need to be in your business, but they if I give you money, I do have the right to ask a question.
Right. If I'm getting a salary from my church to White's perspective.
I didn't say that. I'm talking about
there's the expectation if you're getting a salary that there's a certain type of decorum and behavior that should come with the pastorate.
We're not allowing you to be the pastor. You still got to maintain that.
Right. There's a level. Right. There's a level of Christendom. Before you even become a pastor, there's a level of Christendom.
I give you money. Now watch this. Okay. I give you money for you to take a vacation. Okay. Now I'm about to say this. Ain't no other job they give you money to take a vacation. They just give you. You get time off.
You might get a bonus.
No, you don't get no. You used to work for you used to work for the state of California. They gave you a bonus.
We're talking about private sector versus public sector.
I'm talking about still
people get bonus.
Okay, they get Christmas bonuses. Get all the
bonuses. But it goes right. Okay, so when you get vacation,
so you go on vacation. Okay, you get vacation time. But now you go into churches. They got the vacation. The pastor need to rest. He need to be tired. Saying when our pastor go out, we want to make sure our pastor is living good and doing well. So now you give. So you telling me now after I gave, because I'm a leader in the church, I got to give an official offering of $100. Now I gave you my $100. That was the $100 that I needed to go to do what I want to do.
So
and
can I give you $100.
So when you out in Aruba by yourself,
pineapples,
I can't come back and ask you and say, Pastor, you went to Aruba by yourself and you didn't see.
Don't ever give me no money because I don't need you following behind me seeing how I'm going to spend it.
Do you ask Morton where he goes after y'all give all of those offerings in full gospel?
I don't give Bishop Morton. What's it called?
Okay, but in full gospel with all of the offerings that they take up, do you ask questions?
Frank Oliver asks all the questions. That's why they won't elevate me, and that's why they put me in the back because I ask the questions. I want to know where the money is going. I want to know what the budget is, and I want to know why we having all these offerings. I do ask
pray for Frank.
Okay. Well, at least
I ask for accountability. I'm fiscally conservative.
I'm glad you're consistent.
Pray for Frank. Y'all pray for Frank.
Well, you can cut him out.
Back to the dating. There was a statement I think that Francesca made. for me,
Terry said he making me mad.
it's like it's kind of like as a parent, you don't bring everybody around your children.
Okay.
And I think what pastors are doing is they bring everybody they date to their house, to the church. When you only supposed to bring, or you should bring, the one around that it has potential to be your wife. When I was dating, it was nobody's business who I was dating. But who I decided to be my man is the one that everybody will meet, kind of like what Frank was saying. And I think what we do as leaders is we bring everybody around our children, and we're not even sure if this is the person that's going to stick around. So after so many women coming around, then the children going to start saying, Mama, who is that? Mama, who is that? Is that the same one that was here? Is that the same one that was here? So I think
you can't do uncles no more.
Right.
Mama's
so that's what I'm saying. So I think that's what we do. We get introduced to so many, this is sister such and such, this the pastor's friend, that we feel that our pastor is a little inconsistent with his heart, which causes us pause. Because now we got to say, well, pastor don't know if he want to be married or if he want to be single or whatever the case may be.
I just come to say, I know it messes up people. I'm going to say it again. If pastors are dating, you need to go out and date outside of your parishioners' place and the other.
But there are characteristics that you should be looking for that pertain to what it is that you do. Sorry,
I think if you date, because I think you need to date a woman. There's a lot of women who are Christians.
They gotta know how to handle ministry life. You know, ministry life is not for the faint of heart.
Baby,
fact.
Right. Everybody can't be that Michelle Obama.
Right.
Michelle Obama
I'm talking about
she was cut from a different cloth to be able to endure.
Right.
I'm not saying
she don't give a damn about it. Michelle didn't give a damn about that. Michelle had her own right. She was a smart woman. She only reason why she stayed in that damn White House is because her husband was in love with them people. Michelle don't love that stuff. Michelle is okay with being Michelle.
It was a certain type of spirit that she had to carry in order to endure that.
Listen here.
Not in the Bible.
There's women that seek out pastors because they want that power. Period.
They want the local celebrity.
Can you talk to him, please?
They want local celebrity, and that's what they go chasing.
And then what they get is they forget. A lot of people. I dated a pastor. I was engaged to a pastor, and what people don't understand is that is a man. People want the power and the position, but they fail to take care of that man. And that's what happens. When you get married, you don't just marry the pastor. You marry that man. So when you marry that man, you better know how to take care of that man when he leave that pulpit. And a lot of women don't know how to do that. They just want to be the first lady, walk in with somebody carrying their Bible and being armor bearers. But when they get home, they mad because
I need to become a presiding bishop. Because I'm going to raise people. If you got people in your church, you got a woman in your church who wants to be with you and she brings nothing to the table, she is the devil. If you are a pastor and your wife want to marry you and she ain't got over a 700 FICO score, she's the devil. Because she's not
going to add to you. She's going to
on this stuff.
She's a liability because she now becomes a problem.
When you find a woman who's accomplished,
this conversation is still one-sided though, because we're acting as if but that's fine. But the thing is, sometimes the relationship doesn't bust up because the woman isn't right. Sometimes the man ain't right.
Well,
sometimes the pastor ain't got his credit score together. Sometimes he doesn't have. Sometimes he's more dependent upon these other offerings and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? As a woman, when that woman decides to step away from him,
I wouldn't marry no nigga like that.
So then when that relationship busts up, is the man gonna tell? Is the pastor gonna tell him? Well, it busted up because my score wasn't right. It busted up because
Listen, we have a caller that then came in. If you want to get in on it. The number is 424-390-6993.
If you come for me, I'm going to hit you.
Caller, please.
You come in here on me, swing.
Listen, caller, give us your name.
I own a Mayweather boxing and fitness gym. I swing, baby.
Welcome to Real Talk with Ro. You're on the line. Please give us your name and tell us your question.
Renee Harper.
Hey, mama.
I can't.
Hey.
She got you, Frank.
Come on
Don't leave
in.
now, Frank. Don't take the hand. Come on, don't leave now, Frank. Mama, talk from the perspective. I need you to talk from a perspective of a pastor's wife.
Put your headset on, Frank.
And from the perspective of
he can't even
member.
fight. He can't even fight fair.
Right?
He got to call his mom on the phone.
I didn't tell. I'm here, but give us some perspective on what do you view from when you were married as a pastor's wife to when now you're not married as a pastor's wife, and where do you lie on this conversation? Where you come down at?
Mama, please be careful. Please don't do him too bad, Mama.
We gonna pray. Go ahead, Mama. The floor is yours. I'm about to get up and leave. It's gonna be real talk with Mama in a minute.
Listen. Okay, the thing is, God called that particular man to that office of pastorship, ministry, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. You there, Ma?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
So what
are you doing?
When it comes to the wife, God did not call that woman his wife. I'm sorry. Y'all got to twist it. He did not.
Oh.
She is to be in subjection just like every other member in that doggone church. Now, if there's a particular ministry or something that she can do. Other than that, she's a sit up behind her, look cute, and that's just it. And, treat people nice, her, how you doing, go home, and that's about it. But don't get it twisted, that the members now want to get involved in who he's dating. That's none of y'all doggone business. You go to your doggone job, they pay you. Your boss is not in your business and running your life. How y'all gonna get twisted? If we paying our tithes and offerings, we got it right to know who the pastor dated. None of y'all doggone freaking business.
Come on, put it together.
Mama, what about them extra offerings?
No.
Now,
I want to talk about them extra offers, Mama, because I believe when you pay your tithes off.
That is
now when it comes to all these other different offerings and stuff. Now, a lot of that stuff is man-made, not God-made. Y'all got it twisted.
That's what I'm
talking
about.
Come on now.
Mama. I'm talking about that. Your son don't believe that because he looked back at me. Did you see him? He looked at me because he believe in them offerings.
We don't believe.
He believe in them heave offerings.
Believing in the offerings. That still doesn't entitle you.
But that still does not entitle you that you got carte blanche to make a statement on who and what he did.
I watched.
Y'all better get your prayer life in order.
Come on,
Mama. All I'm saying is, I watch.
I like your mama.
Okay.
I watch pastors do building funds and never build businesses, and I watched them work them members, and them people took mortgages out their house, and the pastor was down there at the barbecue.
You giving to the Lord. You giving to the Lord, Oliver.
No, you cannot ask people who believe it. I'm done. Go ahead, Mama.
Let me finish.
Yes, ma'am.
The thing is, with all these different authors, that have nothing to do with privacy in China. Once again, we're talking about a human being's life.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, he may be dating. You better pray and fast, whatever you want to do, and hope that he chooses the right one. Now, when he chooses her, that still don't mean this chick come in here and act like she's running the show. She sit her behind down.
Amen.
Learn your place.
I just want to
learn your place.
So do we have that same thing about
learn your place?
Your first lady, you better learn your place. I hear you. Mama, you ain't gonna get me wrong off. Mama, I will go with you. People got to know their places and positions. Now, I agree with you. If we gonna go there, we can go on there. There is a place and a position for everybody, and you got to know your place.
Yes.
Period. I think so. Well, I think there's a different world. There are those preachers who have and they want women to be co-pastors with them, and so if you say that,
the thing is, okay, fine. He marries her. Okay, good. She is, as the scriptures say, his helpmeet. Okay, cool. But still, that don't mean that chick needs to be up there acting like she's running things.
That's hard.
He's not call her.
That's right, Mama. We got.
At the end of the day, he did not call her.
The pastor, us.
Oh, yeah,
he called him.
Thank you, Mama. We got other calls coming in. We got some more calls coming in, Mama.
No,
I did. Listen. Thank you, Mama. We love you. The caller that just called in, call back. We want to, and let's talk about that, right? And again, that's just a different perspective,
right,
from a woman that sat in the seat,
right.
She sat in the seat
with
of
a Baptist.
the first. It don't matter. She sat in the seat of first lady, and she said, "From my perspective, y'all, I was married to the pastor. Y'all don't have a right to come into me and my husband's marriage and have any dictation."
No, ain't what she said. She said that the woman needs to stay in her place. She's subject, and that you should know your place. I heard what she said. The first lady got a place, and that's a Baptist.
But you still didn't have access to their
relationship. She said. What she said was the man was called to that church to pastor. And if she comes and marries him, the man is still the pastor. She is not the pastor unless God called her to pastor that church. That's what she said.
No, what she said, no. What his mother said was.
Okay, we got another caller too. Oh, right now, I'm sorry. We going. Caller,
we
please
apologize.
Introduce yourself. Give us your name. Welcome welcome to Real Talk with Ro. Caller. What's your name and what's your question?
Hello, this is Prophetess Shelly Perry.
Oh. Hey, Auntie Shelly, what's going on?
All his whole family going to just team up on us. Go on, Prophetess. Yeah.
Come on.
Auntie Shelly, talk about it. What do you think that there's pastors should be able to date across the board, and if they are, is the dating fair, and do members have?
Don't try to lead her question. She heard everything.
You heard everything. I'm gonna be quiet. Go ahead.
I didn't hear everything.
She didn't hear. Thank you. She just tuned in. So the conversation deals with pastors dating. Is it fair? Can we have the same rules that applies to everybody else, or does the church members have access to know certain business about his dating?
Okay. First of all, he has the right to date. Because if not, then there will be a particular stronghold that's on him. That will make it something. And if he is upon any stronghold of the people miss out from hearing from God because he's too busy trying to please man. So he can never, ever try to then become an Aaron. And Aaron missed the mark because he was too busy pleasing man and what their opinion was of what he should do and how he should do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, God got very angry because Aaron kept listening and also Moses kept listening. But you have to understand that relationship that he got to seek out, that's out between him and God, and he got to seek God and ask God, if this particular woman is right for me, I need her to fit my needs. There's needs that I have that's outside of the body of Christ, that's outside of the church. Here she fit my needs. So it might take a few minutes. It might not happen overnight because some girls come in with their tricks and their games. So he find out which one is real. Because all females not coming 100. All females coming in with a fake mask on.
Tell it, sister.
Man, so they're going to act a particular way. But when they get this particular man that's called by God, which is a different calling, because she has to share her husband with everybody.
Amen.
So it might take him. It might not be a overnight success. We would like for our pastors to get someone.
Yeah, but that's just not how it goes.
That's how it should go that way.
Right.
It should go as smooth as possible for him so he can have that stronghold off of him and focus only on what God's word is. But what he cannot have is the people judging him and putting him down because he made a mistake. This wasn't the one. We don't have the right to judge him. He already judging himself, trying to be right with God and be right with the female. He doesn't need extra help on a rewind tape. Just stop rewinding that tape and reminding him of his past. Push play and let's move forward. So if you keep in mind that what you brought that person in, you brought that person in, she didn't do. Shut thyself up and let him figure this out. The best way a person can figure out a person for themselves is themselves.
And dating is not the same as having a scandal connected to every time you break up with somebody.
Now,
baby.
The issue when it's always a scandal, it's always some mess behind it.
Right.
Then
if your pastor has an issue, if your pastor has some mess, then you are not doing your job and praying for your.
Whoa. Thank you. Listen, Auntie, we're going to keep on talking about it. Clear the line because I know we're going to have more callers coming in. I'll cut you off. But that was some good content.
Just let us have it.
right? Like you need to allow your pastor the room to make, if he makes a mistake in dating, it's a mistake, right? Where's the grace at? Basically what she's talking about, because the pastor always has to extend grace to the members.
Y'all got grace for Trump?
Be extended.
Y'all Negroes got grace for Trump?
Why you going
No, I just want to know, because y'all got all of this.
I do.
I
got grace for Trump.
Be quiet now. Be quiet. Tell Andre, you just talking.
I got grace for Trump because the Bible says we are to pray for those in leadership. So we can't pick and choose who we pray for.
Because I'll be listening to church people. Y'all got all this grace. And you be telling your pastor, y'all got different rules. I don't understand.
Yep, they do.
You know why I have some grace for Trump? No, listen. Do you know why I have a little bit of grace for Trump? Because he don't even know if his Bible is upside or down. So a person that's lost, if you that lost that you can't even figure out how to hold the Bible, you need more than just grace.
I got grace because the Bible says that we are to pray for those that are in leadership. And I agree with you. The church pick and choose who they give grace to. And you know how I feel about that.
I say this. I grew up in a black home. And in a black home, you couldn't just bring any type of person in that home. And when I left that home, my family said, you don't just represent yourself, but you represent us.
Amen.
Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out why y'all is acting like it's okay for your leader, who oversees your soul.
Yeah.
That you don't play a role in who that person brings to represent you. The problem with a lot of women, I think that happens in church, they so much idolize their preacher, and they so idolizing him, they thinking about him more, and it's sexually sick. They think about more than they thinking about what they should be thinking about.
Hello?
I do not want a woman. They can hear you on here, Doug. I don't want a woman. If I was a woman, I don't want a woman representing me. Don't put no woman over me. If you're a single pastor, you about to get married, don't put no woman over me who I can't look and say that's a good model for me. Right. Otherwise, that's not fair.
So no, hold on. Wait. I mean, it's fair, but then
and we don't pay attention.
Wait. As a pastor, right? Because we had then let's have that conversation. Is it fair? Now I have to marry somebody. So it almost talks to, and now I got to marry somebody that's going to set an example. But what if that example that she's setting for the other women in the church don't meet my needs?
I was there. It happened to me.
I'm not supposed to marry a person to make sure that the women in the church look up to her. I'm supposed to marry a person that loves
me.
That's damn lie.
Right, that's in tune with me. If she's in tune with me, she's going to be a good representation.
Exactly.
I know the caller, I'm there. Hold on, caller. I know I'm not marrying somebody so that the women in the church can look up to her, but she causing hell in my house. I'm not going to do that. I need to marry somebody.
I believe.
Wait.
You said that. You marrying somebody that's going to love me first. And if she loves me and she knows what I'm called to do, nobody's saying that's not the truth. Nobody's saying that.
I believe they should coexist.
He said somebody didn't say that wasn't right.
So how did I get it misinterpreted?
You got wrong. A woman who comes in church and knows that her job is to model righteousness and holiness. If that don't turn you on, then nigga, you ain't saved.
But no, that's two different things.
That's what I'm talking about.
But in what you said, Frank, you brought out the fact that she has to be a role model. She has to be a role model to the church. Like it has to be someone that they can look up to. But the thing, what he's trying to say to you is, if she's going to be with me, and if I'm going to choose to marry her, that means that she's going to represent not only God, but she's going to represent me.
I got that.
That all of that is going to go together. So it's not like
extra criteria.
I don't agree with that. What I'm saying is a lot of these guys
with the territory.
We're only having this conversation because of the fact that there are pastors who date in the church, and it creates all of this upheaval, and it's not done right. And that's
y'all the one who made them preachers date. They don't have nothing to lose. That's why they dating people
and then
who
what
are losers.
Happens, and then there are the callers there. Okay, I'll shut up.
Go ahead. No, you good.
But I see what you said. Caller, please welcome to Real Talk with Ro. Please introduce yourself and give us your question or your comment.
So couple of things.
Hi, who are you?
Marvin Brown.
Hi.
Marvin Brown, Richmond, Virginia.
Is this Bishop Brown?
This is.
What's going on, big bro?
God bless you, Bishop.
God bless you, Bishop. Man, come
Hey,
on,
man.
help us. You're married, so speak to if
I
you
am
want
married.
to speak to when you before you got married, if you were pastoring or if you were in the first chair or second chair, and speak to now as far as being in the first chair, being married. Kind of give us your perspective on where you land on. Can the pastor date? And if that's dating, what's going on with that? You've been kind of been to it. Oh, your wife is on this. Get her. Doc, go ahead, Bishop. You got the flow.
See, so a couple of things. I will say that I was single pastoring. I have been married pastoring. I was single pastoring. I married while I was still pastoring.
Mm-hmm.
I did not date a member from my church.
Praise the Lord, Bishop.
And here's the thing. So now I didn't know this to the fullest when I first started pastoring, but here's the thing. It is legal repercussions, and I put that in the chat or in the on the Facebook Live, that there are legal repercussions to dating members.
To dating your members.
You can actually be sued for dating, not so much sexual harassment, but what happens is it's a misuse of power. It's a misuse of power because if you date somebody that's a member of your church or a part of your church, even to a certain extent, that actually knows you're pastoring, and if that's that link, but if it's a member of your church, what happens is this: because pastors have influence, and it's a misuse of power because they can say the dating didn't work out, and she said the pastor was falling on hard times, and she paid a $800 bill for you or bought you a car. Then she can go back and sue you because she can say you used your influence to get her to buy that car, or get her to pay that bill. So now you in a lawsuit with the church, and your church is behind this, and you as the pastor is behind this, because it was a misuse of power. Now, the other thing I wanted to say is I like where Mama was going, and I thought that was great. But here's the other thing with my wife. You got to understand now, my wife works in church, works in ministry. She's preaching. She's the assistant pastor.
Yes.
But I was totally fine with her doing none of that. It's the pastor's responsibility to lay the line and say, this is just because she's the first lady, she don't have to sit on the second row. She don't have to be head of the women's department.
Right.
Amen.
She's a wife first.
Right.
And once after the church is gone, she's gonna still be the wife.
Right.
But
Amen.
While she's in church, that's her choice as to whether she wants to operate in those little functions or be a part of that or sit on the second row, whether she want to wear a big hat or not. That's all of her decision on her own. But again, the mama said she wasn't called.
Right.
The pastor was called. So she doesn't hold that responsibility to do all of those great things. Now it's the pastor's job to lay the line and say, this is my wife. If she wants to work on these departments, she can.
Right.
But if she don't have to. I know pastors that go to totally separate churches, don't even go to the same church. And the pastor operates just fine, and the wife does what she does at a totally different church. And it's okay. But you got to make those distinctions clear, because the people will put weights on your family, on your children, and make them think they're supposed to be this and supposed to be that. And that's not, they were only called to be the pastor. And as long as the pastor is doing his job as being the pastor, it ain't should be any special weight on the children. Well, the children need to be doing this, and their pastor kids need to be doing this, and the pastor wife need to be doing that. That's not her job. And God didn't call her, and you didn't hire her.
Right.
The church didn't hire her, so they don't have that responsibility.
Listen,
unless
Bishop,
they
I'm
choose
with
to.
you. I'm with you. I believe that the pastor and his wife, if he's single and he chooses to get married, or if he's married, I believe sometimes the relationships get messed up because of that expectation that has been put on the wife and or the children, and your marriage gets messed up because you got this expectation. You're like, no, I need her to minister to me. I need her to be a good wife to me. I want to be able to raise. Now, that doesn't mean she doesn't, if she desires to participate in church, cool. But I think this time around, now that I was married for 6 years and I was in the second chair,
Right.
if I knew what I knew now, I think even though my ex-wife, she can sing her face off, I don't know if I would have wanted her to be a part of ministry, because when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. And when I get home, I don't want to talk about ministry. I don't want bring me out of that. Right, because I'm here, and I think that's but again, that's going through what I went through. I need that.
You know
balance.
how many?
I need that balance.
You know what, Bishop?
You don't want to. Bishop. You don't, if you're a car salesman, you don't want to sell cars all day at work and then have to come home and sell cars again.
Right, Bishop. This is my problem.
I'm not calling my husband pastor.
Bishop, this is a problem I have.
What's the
I
problem?
have went to more men's funerals who are men in the cloth. I went to their funerals. We had to raise offerings to bury them. And they have nothing to leave their woman. And now she has these kids, and they have nowhere else to go because all they did was want their woman to be a part of church, and never found somebody who was doing something else other than this, because this, what we call church, is so up and down. Every entrepreneur knows to go find somebody else who got some stability. I mean, that's just kind of yin and the yang. Except in church, we go and attract people who can't produce something else, and then we expect the church after that to take care of the things that we should be taking care of. And I just have a problem with that. And I'm sorry, because it keeps happening and happening and happening.
So it does happen, and some pastors don't understand. Well, they give so much to the church, but oftentimes their reward, quote unquote reward, is in heaven, and they don't look to build. Now, every man, whether you pastor or not, you should be looking to somehow build your retirement. Because a lot of us are contracted employees. So I'm not going to put all of that on the pastor.
And have some life insurance for your wife.
So if you don't know how to handle your financial business, and you're not putting it aside a retirement for yourself, whether you're the musician at the church, or whether you're the pastor of the church, or you are just onto a musician or onto an evangelist, you need to handle your finances, period. I mean, whether you make that decision, marry somebody that doesn't know how to handle finances. I mean, every time I do marriage counseling, and the people that I counsel will tell you, I ask for them to pull a background check and pull a credit report and a physical. You need to have a physical with blood work done, a credit report, and a background check before you get married, so you can see everything that's going on in your wife's finance, and y'all will be clear. So none of jump up at the last minute. You won't be caught by surprise that they got a car note or 5 cars repossessed in the last 2 years. You need to know all of that. So it won't be no surprises when you go to buy a house or do whatever you got to do. All of those things to be put out in open. So everybody need to handle their financial business, period, point blank, whether you're in the church or church.
Amen.
Praise the Lord.
Hey, Bishop, thank you so much for calling in. Listen, it's 10:42 on your side of town. Thank y'all. I saw the presiding prelate as well. Bishop, thank you so much for calling in, man. And I appreciate your perspective of giving it to us from when you were before you were married, why you're married now, and the different perspective on, and now just blessing us. Hey, have multiple streams of income as well as a pastor. Don't be totally dependent on the church and everything. You're just expounding on all of this information that's good for us.
To build your retirement.
Right, build a retirement. Bishop, bless you, man. You get some sleep. It's 10:43. I don't want to hold you. Please get you some sleep.
I was enjoying it. That's why I called in.
Oh man, thank you so much. We on episode 3, Bishop. So I thank you for jumping in. We on episode 3, and we're building. Don't pay no attention to Frank over here. He just, I love my brother. I love him.
He like Adam. He ate the wrong fruit.
Right, and he ain't doing nothing but just bringing tension, ain't he? And I love him. And I did. I brought him on the show to build the tension.
Do my job. Oh yeah,
that wasn't E flat, man. That was
all right.
Romans 5 talks about suffering being endurance.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Praise the Lord.
But listen,
I'm just gonna say again, and that's all I'm trying to say to you, kind sir, is I'm telling y'all, I just think it's a problem. Y'all, we sound schizophrenic. You don't know if you want a woman to work in the church. You don't know if you want a woman to work in the church, or if you want a woman to be a part of ministry, or if you want her to be home and all of that. And I just think we diminish women.
It differs from each person.
I believe she can help you at your little church ministry, and I believe she can go home and talk about something different. And I think that there's a problem that there's so many why is the church breeding one-dimensional women? That's what y'all should be asking the question. The church should be the place. It used to be a time where even the pimps, when they wanted to get right, the players, when they wanted to get right, they could go to the church and get a woman. Now the preacher don't even want a woman in the church. So you got to ask yourself what happened when the unsaved wanted a saved woman, and now the saved don't even want a saved woman. Now y'all got to ask some questions.
Frank, you're about to go into a whole nother realm, and I don't think you want to go there.
Church,
you don't want to go there. You're about to go to a whole nother place.
Because y'all in here with this idolatry. Y'all
idolatry.
Y'all over here making these preachers like they damn celebrities. We ain't no celebrity. The preacher is not a celebrity.
We know that.
Not all
we know that. That's why we're saying it ain't our business.
1%. Please stop talking to them.
Jesus,
Right.
he
Like,
your savior. You know what the preacher is? He's only used. He's a eunuch. That's what he need to be. A castrated servant that gets and helps what God needs. That's what he is. He's a eunuch. That's what the preacher should be. A eunuch. He needs to. For his wee is not leading him to take care of the bride of Jesus Christ. That's what I'm saying. That's it. He's not a king. He's not. No, he is a eunuch under shepherd. That's what the Bible say. Ain't that what Ruth had? Ruth had a eunuch. I'm trying to tell Esther. It was in the book of Esther. A eunuch.
I agree with you.
They're using the wrong head. There's one head of the.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Pastors are not celebrities. But the thing about it is, celebrities, we feel like we need to be in their business. So you're contradicting yourself because you're saying pastors are not celebrities, but then you want to turn around and be in their business like they are a celebrity. So which one is it?
Oh, you want me to tell you one? Because you don't call me like I'm hypocritical. I know.
I'm not scared.
What I'm telling you is this. It's just like with celebrities, and you go give your money to your fans, and they fans, and you ask them to join their little celebrity group, and you ask them to join. So I'm saying is all of y'all got all these damn offerings. Y'all got 50 different offers to take care of. This is my problem. A man, I can't follow a man who don't handle his own and take care of his own wife. If I gotta take care of your wife, she might as well be mine too.
Log off.
No applause for that.
Your wife, I gotta give a fund for your wife to get Louis Vuitton when I'm working 40, 60 hours a week, barely giving my wife a Coach purse. Nigga, please.
I mean, but
then that pastor needs to get a job.
Right.
No, the pastor needs to get a job.
Got me mad.
I don't know why you mad.
It's on
I don't know why you mad.
I'm watching it. Y'all I'm watching
that. That falls on the pastor then, bro. Everybody pastor different. What you're saying, you're trying to make it across the standard, and you can't because some people don't live by that standard. It's individuals. So I get what you're saying.
In church all the time. What I'm saying is, I'm saying, no, this ain't the 1%. This is really the majority. But y'all don't get to hear the silent majority because what I've heard what I heard on the phone call today was the self-congratulatory narrative of the leadership of the church. Oh, pray for your man of God. But they ain't praying for Trump. Pray to give grace. We ain't giving grace in other places. When y'all find out, when y'all found out in Compton that what's it called was stealing all the money, what was the old man that they sent to jail? What was the old? Yeah, Bradley. Y'all ain't gave Bradley no grace. They ain't give no damn Bradley no grace. So
I agree.
It's to us is we gonna have to be principled, and this is the principle that I'm saying we got to get preachers off of these pedestals. Get your high churches outdone. Stop acting like we gotta that everything has to happen. I'm not mad at your appreciation day and all that, but you got to stop all this manipulating the scripture to get you more. Paul,
I agree.
I'm with you.
I agree.
Argument there.
Jesus was if Jesus was a carpenter and had a you ain't got one.
I'm with you.
We agree on that.
But we haven't been arguing that perspective that you bring it up. Like you go hard in the paint as if we're arguing that perspective.
No, because y'all saying that rudiment of the stuff. You dating in church, I'm telling you right now, the reason why people in your business, because they think that they beholden, because they got you by your nuts.
Then they need to think something different.
But when people don't know, when they ain't got you, when you a liberated man and ain't nobody got your nuts, they can't ask you no darn question.
Well, should nobody have your nuts but your wife?
Do with people being in your business. That's about how you conduct it, how you start that relationship off with people. The ones who have problems is because the ones who have problems because they've gone over the line with their members. They party with members. Right. They go out and drink with their members. Well, because
some denominations, some denominations they do let the people, they let them drink with their members. That ain't no problem. But what I'm saying is there are a lot of people we call pastors. This is the only place where you can go, have a dream, wake up, and because you was a choir director, you can become a pastor.
Oh.
This is the only profession you can wake up.
Well, my greens are burning, so I'm gonna go on and go now. I know. This right here.
We on a whole nother level now.
You just jumped on
I'm just saying, this is the only place. No, because if we're gonna talk about the core stuff, the only place where you can wake up in the morning, and because you can sing, friend.
What about it?
I'm not talking about you, but I'm saying because people can sing on key.
Okay.
Sometimes.
And they got a hoop.
I don't have a hoop.
We ain't talking about you, so be quiet.
That was the scene from Glory.
Anytime you got a hoop, you can say cornbread and beans and all them greens and them good things, and you can say it well.
Right, but again,
and you have a fancy, and you can say it well. But again, then we call them a pastor.
Dating if
you're a pastor, well, I can't get to the pastor dating.
No, but we have to stay to the lane in which the conversation started.
But the people you're using, you're calling them pastors. And I may be saying to myself, I'm trying to say the examples of people y'all saying are pastors to me. Maybe them Negroes shouldn't be pastors.
Maybe. Okay, but that's another conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Where we're in.
Now, do you feel better? You feel better? You got it out your system?
Right.
Because are you empty? Are you still full?
That's right. You don't stop the beholden.
Again, back to the substratum of the conversation.
We ain't talking about
the rudiment of the question was, can it be fair across the board, right? And I think we've come to some consensus that because of the responsibility that may be placed on the pastor or this quote unquote influence that he may have, there's a responsibility that you can't do it like everybody else. There has to be some discretion.
You can't be a community. Man. Okay, you want to ask me to come here?
There has to be some discretion attached to your dating process. It can't, right? Because there's an expectation of responsibility for the people that you shepherd, that you have to, you should be looking to that expectation and trying to make sure that you're modeling what, even if you're dating, you should be able to model what you date like.
I think you know what you need on your team for you to continue to do what you need to do.
If you dated four girls in the church circle and it didn't work out, you're a community. You're a community. Right?
You call him a community hoe? Is that what you get?
I'm saying to the preacher, that's what you have to learn. It happens in the Greek world. If you dating in the same circle, that's the problem. And what I'm saying is this circle. We have condensed people to their local circle.
Okay.
Preacher is dating in the local circle of the people. There's 50 people in the church down the street, 50 people. So, okay, now we got about 8,000 people or 4,000 people, 200 young people, young adults, and you dated 5 of them. That's stupid.
Right.
So you need to learn
your perspective
how to
is to date. Don't date nobody. I want to get right. You're saying if he's a pastor or she's a pastor, him or her should not date anybody that belongs. They should date a Christian, but they shouldn't date somebody that belongs to anybody's church. They may belong to somebody's church. How would you fight that if they're a Christian? They may go to somebody's church.
If you're a single pastor and you're in church and you're in a leadership position,
should you talk to their pastor?
I think this goes back to what we talked about before. There's a problem that we obviously don't understand power. Power should marry power. Rich marry rich in every other culture.
Oh, wait a minute.
What we need to realize is you need to learn how to find somebody who understands the role of power. See, this is what we first started talking.
I agree with that.
I mean, there's balance in that, and I get it, but okay, so let's just entertain the thought. You date somebody at another church. You're a pastor, and you decide to you go visit into one of them 4:00, 3:30 services.
Okay. And I see something that catches my eye.
And Bathsheba catches you.
Bathsheba catches you. Yeah.
Okay. And you decide that you want to deal with this person. So now, before it becomes serious, or is there some? What's the protocol? That's the question.
I want to know where you work. I want to know what else you do.
What's the protocol for talking to your friend's member?
First of all, number one, the protocol is first of all, I just need to know her name because I'm going to do my own background.
Okay.
Okay.
Social media going to let me do my own background.
And then do you have a conversation with her pastor?
I'm only going to have a conversation with her pastor after I do enough background to see if that's something that I want to engage.
Okay.
Because there's no reason for me to talk to my boy about somebody I want to talk to in this church when I realize now I'm going to do my own background. Towards the end of my background, I'm going to ask him because my boy going to tell me the truth.
Right.
He going to say, yeah, you should be. Yeah, that could be. Nah.
Facts.
Okay.
And I agree with that altogether. Now, in your background, are you also looking for how does she fit into what you already have established?
The first thing I'm looking at is to seeing if she can
does she have the Holy Ghost?
Me.
Oh, that's not the first thing? Because we've been so on how she portrays to the.
No, I'm not trying to find out if the first thing she got is the Holy Ghost.
Okay. So what's the first thing that you're looking for?
I just want to know if she can stimulate my mind.
Your mind.
Are we like-minded?
Yeah,
Can we relate?
Okay.
That's
so
fair.
if she, so let's okay. So you, I like you there.
I'm
the
just
Holy
trying to
Ghost.
build a
So
platform on how
what
we
you
get
saying
there.
is she doesn't have to be a Christian out the gate. Is what you?
I
does
didn't
she have
say
to
that.
Be, I'm asking you. She
met her at
does
the church.
not have to be a Christian out the gate.
But based on this concept that I gave him,
met her at the church.
He answered based on her being in church.
At the church.
Because what we think is the Holy Ghost. Sometimes
I just threw that out there.
No. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I want him to understand what we think is the Holy Ghost. I think somebody can have the straight Holy Ghost and never say not one thing in church, but they live in the lifestyle and they're effective.
Now,
I want to know: are you a high achiever?
Now, Frank, there is something that I remember from years ago that there was a Muslim woman. And she intrigued you simply because her statement was, "I just want to be a good Muslim woman." And I remember at this time, you remember that?
I remember that. I remember that.
Okay. And this conversation, shut up.
She sure did.
We had to bring her back in.
He had to, because he went all the way. You see how he just trailed off right there. But the thing was, what got your attention was her devoutness to who she was and what she desired to be. But would that have worked for you? And that was where the conversation went after the fact because of where you are in ministry, could you be a pastor?
And no, I couldn't be a pastor with a Muslim
wife.
No, I couldn't because I couldn't because I really believe in the scripture of being unequally yoked.
Okay.
But what I want to say is
what
intrigued me about her was she had an expectation.
Yes.
And she had a standard.
Yes.
And she was devout to that expectation and that standard.
That's fair.
What I've tend to find out in our churches is that we have taught not principle, standards, or expectations.
I agree.
But we have taught people situational ethics. And
I agree.
So situational, our members are almost schizophrenic.
So how do you lead your congregation?
So if we go back to it, because I don't want to get you wrong, you were saying that a pastor that may be single can almost become a church hoe because I think from what because you're dating, right, not his church, but if
he's publicly dating,
but no, period. As I heard it, and I want to make sure I'm right. You're saying if I date a Christian, as I'm interpreting it, there is a high probability that she's gonna be a member of somebody's church. Okay. So what if you don't? If now I've dated 2 or 3 women or 4 women in a lifetime, they may not all be in this particular radius or a certain mile radius, I think that's different. But if I'm dating a Christian and I dated 3 or 4 women, they may belong to somebody's church. That don't make the pastor now a church hoe because the woman is a Christian. She might belong to somebody's church.
We know
we're talking about dating in a circle.
You know the difference
all
of
of us
dating.
have churches, and
I'm trying to get the clarity. I'm saying you're not in a circle.
You know it's a difference of dating somebody at a Noel Jones church where he got 30,000 members, dating somebody at a West Angeles there's 30,000 members, and then dating at your boy down the street.
All I was trying to seek was clarity. I'm not. I wanted clarity for the viewer so people will understand. You want to date a Christian, so the high probability would be that this Christian may belong to somebody's church. What we're trying to stray away from is that you're not going to be in your circle. Creed, do something. You got all this commotion
you gotta
back
put
there.
some mute. We use
I'm sorry, I don't know how to
room or something. It's just
y'all on the toilet right there. You see the light? You sit right in the toilet.
We can't bring people from Lancaster, y'all down there hanging people, and then you all it's just doing.
First of all, I'm cooking dinner for my husband and my kids. It's called multitasking, but I don't know how to work this camera and stuff.
Okay, well, get off the phone.
Just put her on pause.
This is what I'm gonna say.
I was trying to get the clarity, so you're not dating in the circle, but you're going to date somebody that may belong to somebody.
You know the problem I see with preachers? They don't date women. Let me say this. I see a lot of my friends, I see a lot of preachers, I felt they dated below what the standard should have been for their life. They brought women in who do not model, who don't understand their job to model and how to model excellence. They don't understand the position. They didn't get a Michelle Obama.
So you saying they brought that? So that person that they were dating, that person should have never became public to the masses. You could have dated her, but don't put her public.
Because what I'm saying is you marry her. No, what I'm saying is I have a problem with a lot of my preacher friends who are, if you're dating women because you have a fragile ego and now you bring a woman in here with low self-esteem and try to put her in a high leadership position.
It's not gonna work.
Right, that's not gonna work.
And so what I'm saying is that notion that I just need somebody for me. That's a very narcissistic role. Everybody knows that you should date somebody. At the end of the day, she's your wife, but she can't just be. I have a problem with y'all that women are not multifaceted. How are people not multifaceted, but we're in leadership position? Fran is a great minister of music. Francesca is a great daughter. Francesca is a great preacher. She's a great administrator. Why are we limiting her to one role, a wife? That's stupid. And y'all who doing it is stupid. You're more than a wife. You're more than a mother. You are multifaceted. And I need you to make sure you do all your roles. And if you can't do all your roles, then you need to go get some medication because you're gonna have to learn how to juggle hats.
I would argue that role may not all of those roles may not necessarily need to be worked out in the church. She can be multifaceted, but if that pastor or that man desires for her
the first lady is the model.
Bro, if he decides, because he the head, this is my wife can be multifaceted all she wants to be. He's the head of that household.
Right.
My wife can be as multifaceted as she wants to be. But if he doesn't desire, for whatever reason, for her to be involved in ministry to that extent, for whatever reason, I think he has that.
You're gonna choose.
Don't mean that she's not multifaceted. Don't mean she don't have her own business. Don't mean I'm just talking to both sides of the coin. He may want her to be involved in ministry.
Right.
But if he don't want her to,
you said a husband has the authority to dictate if one can serve in God's house?
No, I'm saying if he wants his wife as the first lady to be that involved, because like I said earlier, if I could do it again, I'm talking me. I'm not talking nobody else. So hear me in the camera. I'm not talking about no other pastor, me. Yeah. If I could do it again, my ex-wife, she can sing her face off and she was working in ministry. But for where we were in our marriage and how we were trying to build in the infancy of our marriage and building a family, it did not serve us well that both of us was in ministry.
Okay.
Doing it now, I'll be like, man, I think I may have wanted her to be out if I'm in. That takes nothing away from her ability to be an entrepreneur, to be able to be a mother, to be able to make investments and all that stuff. I may not be, I may not need her in the way of church that she was. It didn't work.
I got them on the ropes.
Now again, the Lord may see somebody else that brings somebody in that is be like, and that can change my whole mind. All I'm talking from the perspective that I experienced. That's all I can speak to. I'm not gonna make no blanket statement and I'm like, I don't know if I want that this time around.
What was your question?
The question was, can I dictate? Yes. I'm the head of the household. I'm gonna dictate.
You come on, Rashad.
You trying to create trouble. I already said that.
No, it ain't trouble.
He's the head of the household.
First of all, it's not trouble.
We gotta call her. We gotta call her. The dictator.
Dictator, can we take the caller?
Man, shut up, Frank.
Hell shot.
Listen. Welcome to Real Talk with Ro.
You gonna own it.
Please introduce yourself. Give us your name. We thank you for calling in. Holla back at your boy.
Oh, Mike, I don't even know where to start. This is Sherika Nicole.
Hey, Sherika, what up?
What's up? Y'all done touched on so many things, and I just feel like it's just jumping from here to here. But what you just touched on, that's like a whole new show. So I'm not
right. We're not going. Right. Thank you.
Can I dictate?
No.
If I was your man,
Sherika, get on your get. But what is your comment? I'm talking about dictate the involvement. He's trying to take the word and make me into a dictator.
I didn't say nothing.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about dictate. I would express to my fiance or to my wife the involvement I desire for her to have does not stream into both of us being so inundated with ministry that that's all we're talking about. That's not saying she can't be involved in the women's ministry. That's not saying she can't be involved with the choir. That's not saying she can't be involved in whatever the Lord may have blessed her with to be involved in ministry. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, I would express to her that, baby, I got so much on my plate. When I'm ready to go, I would like for you to be already gone if possible, or ready to go when I'm ready to go, but you're not so involved in ministry that now we're both in it. That's it. That's all I would be dictating or communicating or expressing to her. The deepness of her involvement in ministry from what I've experienced now. Now, again, if he brings somebody that's different, that may have a different flow. Again, I'm only talking to my perspective. I got to deal with so much as the pastor that I don't know if I want you as deep in the ministry as me. I would dictate was the right word. Sorry, ladies. I don't want to. I would communicate to her that I wouldn't want her to be that deep in involvement.
But if she's that deep, isn't she taking some stuff off your plate?
But I don't know. I'm just being honest. I don't know if I would want her to take some stuff off of my plate. I would want her to be that some other things in the wifely area that not,
what's the wifely area?
Just other things, wifely area. Not because I don't want, again, I wouldn't want her to be, I wouldn't want my wife, I wouldn't want my wife to be my executive assistant. Right. I wouldn't want my wife to be the president of the choir ministry. I wouldn't want my wife to be the chairman of the women's circle.
You don't want her to have no power.
It's not about power. It's talking about the deepness of her involvement in the task, the responsibility that she would hold, and making sure that ministry functions.
I understand what he's saying, because I was like that. I understand what he's saying, because a lot of times the first lady has to be neutral, and a lot of times the first lady can be involved in this ministry, and then other members will feel that ministry is favored by the pastor because his wife is involved in that. So a lot of times, if there's no boundaries within the marriage, the stuff that goes on in the church, the drama, the cliqueness, and all that stuff can filter over into the home. So being involved in ministry and being married and being together, there has to be boundaries set. If not, it will spill over into the household. So I definitely understand what he's saying.
Neither one of y'all Negroes is pastors. Where the other girl at?
Sherika, I didn't mean to cut you off, Sherika. I was trying to make sure Frank was trying to paint me as a dictator, and that's not what I said.
No. I mean, well, it definitely came out like that. So I'm glad you clarified it.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You cleared that. But I just think even in that, before you get married to whoever, just to kind of touch base on that, that's just a conversation that you should have during your courting phase. So I called in
Thank
because
you.
I've been listening to. So my definition, I think what should have happened in the beginning of this, and I probably missed it because I didn't sign on. Like, how do you guys define dating? Because I define dating as I'm single.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dating. So that means I can go out with you, Ro, on a date. I'm going on a date with you to get to know you. We may not even make it past that date. So let's just say if I was a male, I'm not going to even make it past that first date with you. So the congregation shouldn't even know about Sherika anyway.
Right.
And then you can still turn around and go on a date on Wednesday with somebody. This don't mean that you're hopping or you're doing it. I don't know how real y'all get on here.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit
it's real.
Let's get real.
Yes.
I'm just gonna use the word. I don't think that's hoe hopping, church hopping, or whatever the case.
Whoa, wait. How old are you, sweetheart? How old are you?
How old am I?
What is the range? Are you in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s?
I'm past that.
You in your 30s, 40s?
I'm past 35.
Okay, let's have some real talk then.
What's real talk with Rose? Say what you gonna say.
So you telling me you could go on a date with a man?
No, because I'm dating. I'm single. I'm dating. Right. And if I meet you today, we may be in the grocery store. Hi,
meet me in the date. Let's go.
I would like to take you out. We might just go sit across the table at Starbucks. Who knows? It ain't going to happen.
Right.
It's nothing there. Nothing there. We're not going to never communicate again. Why can't, if I meet Ro on Thursday and maybe we talk on the phone a couple of times or whatnot, and 2 weeks after we talk, he's like, you know what? I like your style. I like you. We're getting to know each other. So he's like, I want to take you on a date. To me, that's dating. I'm not so court. So when you date, let's just say me and Ro, we went. I'm not talking to the guy at the grocery store anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's that. We only went out to Starbucks. It was a 30-minute because once I'm irritated, I'm just irritated. Once I lose interest and I feel that
I'm done,
we're not gonna be compatible, I'm done. Ain't no need for me to waste my time.
Are you single, sweetheart?
Yeah, I am. Ain't no need for me to. Wait.
So, baby girl, wait, hold on. So we gotta slow down a little bit. So you telling me that you met a man, you meet me across at the grocery store, and then number one, our first date might not be not gonna be Starbucks. So let's say our first date was Starbucks, and we getting off. But let's say our first date is at Starbucks.
I hear so much
I'm learning you. I'm getting to meet you, and I'm getting to meet you. So let's say the first date we hit off pretty good off of that first date. I mean, we hit off pretty. I mean, most likely, you know what I mean. I know me. I got you. So we hit you good. We got you good. So let's say you go on a date with somebody else. By our third date, boo, do you think you're going to be dating other people? By our third date, you don't think you're going to be kissing on me? By our third date, you don't think we're going to get? I'm just asking because we in our 40s now.
You didn't let me finish.
Go ahead, work it, baby girl. Work it out.
That's why it's important. That's why it's important that you having conversations that you need to be having to even see if it's going to make it to a third date.
Okay. Because I
like it.
3 days he got up. It don't take long. If it didn't take Jesus long,
but you ain't doing 3 dates in 3 days. Hush up now, man.
Go ahead.
He said 3 days he got up.
Come on, talk to me, sweetheart, because I want us to be real.
But I think what Sherika is
what she's saying.
I'm just giving perspective on what she's talking about. She's talking about the conversation from what she came on, the pastor should be able to date in the context in which she's explaining it, that I can go get some coffee with somebody on a Wednesday.
Exactly.
Be able to go somewhere with somebody else on a Friday. That was the origination of her.
That's what dating is. That's what dating is. That's what dating is. To
be fair across the board, not in sexual intercourse. The thing of dating.
So there's a difference between dating and courting, and that's what I said in the beginning. You can date somebody and it be perfectly fine. Am I irritating you?
Cree. Anyway, where's my sweetheart? No, you're not irritating me because what I really want to say is when we were single, we wasn't following these damn rules. It's like we got. No,
the church didn't like it, but I was.
Not true.
You had
pull up. Pull up.
Okay,
pull up.
Listen to what I'm saying, Sherika. What I'm saying is, Sherika. I'm saying there's a lot of Sherika. There's a lot of a lot of people in the Christian world who don't want to tell the truth is that many of us, by the time they're getting to 3, 4 dates and stuff, a lot of people have already found themselves, not saying that they had to have intimacy, but they're connected some way, whether it was the infatuation or the kiss or something else. I'm saying by the time they get to those, right. So what I'm saying is that's that fair. Line of dating it can be very bleak because we can be gathering data that can also cause me to have some connection with you. So let's not act like.
But that is true. So that's where I feel so. And I absolutely agree with that. But again, so in the context of how I wanted just to explain this, because I know when I came in, it was like, we should know about who the pastor dated.
We was all over the place, baby. So, I appreciate you trying to find your way.
So I'm just trying to come in and just make it, not just for myself, for other people.
Sherika, you a good tithe payer. Do you pay your tithes?
For today?
Absolutely.
Okay, you pay your tithes, and then on top of your tithes, I'm sure that you have a better job.
Sherika, I want to go this. I want to comment on that.
So your pastor, they have a vacation offering for your pastor, and your pastor there's a vacation offering, and they give you, and they ask your pastor wants to go. Let's say he want to go to the Dominican Republic. DR, he's single. I don't know who your pastor is, but let's say he's single. He want to go to the Dominican Republic, and the offer, and that is $4,000 on top of everything else you have to give, on top of the pastor's anniversary and all of that. And you give to that offering at $4,000, the love offering you give to the pastor. Don't you want to know if your pastor enjoyed himself? I didn't say you got to know his business, but would you say, hey, pastor, you gave $1,000 to it. Do you want to know if your pastor
he's going to say that when he comes back from the trip and thank you for contributing to his trip. You ain't got to ask him his details. Okay, I'm sorry, Sherika. You go right ahead, love.
I mean, when it comes to all them extra, like, cause when you was, I kind of, that's the whole topic too.
No, stay with me, girl.
When it comes to stuff like that, I don't even, it takes a lot for me to even give into that, because I think it was Ro Mom that stated that all that is man-made. So I think if you want to give to your pastor to go out and have vacation and do whatever, you do it from the kindness, or you do it from your heart and just keep on pushing.
Thank you.
Because I got a business, and from an entrepreneur standpoint, just the COVID going on, I just put out like, business, whatever. And when people gave, they didn't then say, what inventory did you buy for your business?
Exactly.
They didn't say none of that. Had someone would have asked me, then I wouldn't have had a problem with sharing that. But they gave because they saw like, okay.
They gave because
this is somebody that I've been rocking with for some years.
And you're integral.
They appreciate you.
So
you're integral.
Right.
You're integral. But let me say this. If you always put out every time you need it, if you did this 4, 5, 6 times that we got to do a GoFundMe for you, right?
Yeah.
Then eventually I might, even if I'm like, I believe in my sister, but if I give after 4 or 5 times, I might be like, hey sis, let me see what's going on, that you ain't got to keep putting a GoFundMe account. What I'm saying is that we in the church have to understand, because I'm gonna say, you say, and mama said those are man-made, but they don't use, when they giving the offering, they using scripture. So they using God to build a man-made rule. And all I'm saying is that's a problem.
Right.
Then you mad when I ask you your business, but you didn't have
absolutely.
But that's an ethical problem.
I know, but let me just say this to that. No, for one, we all should be reading the word outside of the man in the pulpit, because he's a man. Yeah. He's a man first before anything else.
That's all.
And for the women that's up there preaching, they're the woman first. So that's up to you. Now, if you want to, me personally, I'm going to the Bible. Where does it say it at? Okay, and then I'm even coming up to you after the service, and I'm questioning you. To me, I don't know why people was afraid to ask a pastor or a first lady or a prophetess or whatever they call themselves up there.
Yes.
I don't know why they're afraid.
Come on.
I don't know why they're afraid to ask a question. You should never be afraid
to ask
nobody up there. And they do. So I don't have a problem with it. And even if they're using the Bible scripture, if I don't feel led to give, I'm not giving. You can be up there for 30 minutes talking about giving. shame on you. I'm not giving. Period.
Right.
Okay,
So-
and that's fair. Go
That's
ahead.
fair.
Oh,
And
no,
because we got to get out of here.
They want you to get out of here, but I'm with you, sis.
We went way over time.
What's your
and I thank
entrepreneur?
you.
What's your
Thank you,
business? I may want to
Sherika.
invest in her business.
What's the name of your business, Sherika?
Because I like your spirit.
Sherika, you go. I'm about to say, what's the name of your business? Let's shout it out.
Hung Up Boutique.
Where can we find you at? What's your IG?
What you doing? What's going on?
Hung Up Boutique. And then I got at DPE Your Vision. And I'm also a designer at Fancy Fresh Clothing.
Hung Up Boutique. I'm gonna look you up. You on Instagram?
I am.
All right, I'm gonna look you up. I'm giving to you whatever happened in COVID. I'm giving to you. I'm looking you up. All right, because I like what you're talking. Because you got the Holy Ghost.
Listen, y'all go support my sister Sherika. She has a wonderful boutique. So thank you. Say it one more time, Sherika. Give us your IG handles and stuff. What's the name of your businesses?
Hung Up Boutique is one, DPE Your Vision, and at Fancy Fresh Clothing.
All right. Thank you so
All right,
much. Thank you so
congratulations
much
to you and all that you
for
have
coming
going
in, Sherika, to have fun. Listen, I think we're back. No, I'm not fixing it. We got to get out of here. I don't want to hold people too long, and I want us to be able. We can come back and do a part 4 because I think this is good. It's a good conversation, and we want to be able to stay on. So I think we've come to a consensus.
That's how
possibly.
you know you're going to hell.
I think we've come to some type of consensus that
I think
if
it's
the
fair.
pastor is going to date, right? No, because we started out, for those of you that
He
came
has
in on
to
the
have
back line,
ethics
right?
and morals.
But let's even go back before that. Those
Sure.
that came when we first started the show, we were talking about just dating in the Black community, dating and then dating interracially. We're all saying, like,
Ooh,
listen,
yeah.
that should be able to do that. You should be able to do that and still be cultured, and you're not losing your Black card, right? To put a bow on it. If you want to date male or female, your African American counterpart, cool. You ain't lost nothing. If you want to date our Caucasian, Latino, and Asian brothers and sisters, you haven't lost nothing. Right? We established that in the first half. And then on the second half, I think what could go out as far as pastors dating, there has to be some discretion behind it.
Amen.
And the pastor,
Must
whether
have enough
he
morals.
or she needs to know that there's an expectation that people hold you to. One, you need to have your own Christian expectation
Integrity.
and do what the Lord asks you to do.
Right.
But knowing that you are responsible and you are the under shepherd of this flock,
Right.
there needs to be some discretion behind what
And
you
know
do.
that these Black people will put you out.
Right. They put you out, but also don't date in
And put your business out.
these circles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Obey the 10 crack commandments. Y'all go listen to that. It's on Biggie. He tells you
10 crack.
don't do this. Don't you
This
don't
Negro
sell
said
where you
Biggie.
rest at. You know what I'm
This-
saying? You
Okay.
can't-
Okay.
Listen, I'm bringing it where it
I'm
is.
here.
No, we're not going there.
I
We
hear
wrapping
you.
I got
up.
one
No,
more.
We ain't wrapped. No, we get ready.
Listen,
Go.
y'all. We're gonna do a fund for the single ministry.
No.
Look
We're not
right
giving
now. I'm
nothing.
telling you right now.
Look right
He
in
is
there.
a false prophet.
There is a
He is-
single
the Lord is
ministry
not in him right
in
now.
the
We are-
whole single ministry. I feel
Lord.
it right. Listen, what
He
is
ain't
it?
felt
What is
nothing.
today's date? What is today's
That is
date?
the flush. I'm
As a matter of
telling
fact,
y'all.
it's
This ain't
8:20
even
days. It's
If you
8:21.
Francesca,
I need you
this
to
ain't
get
even flesh. This is the
$21. $21.
we gonna flush this spirit down the
Right. This is over.
Listen,
My greens are burning.
We have fun on tonight.
Absolutely.
And I love the dialogue. Thank you all of everybody that came in. Reverend Dr. Najuma, she cut out. We couldn't get her back.
We
She couldn't
ruffled
handle
some
it.
feathers tonight.
She couldn't handle it.
Thank you for coming in, Cree. Francesca, my sister, she came
Cree,
in.
get on my
All
nerves.
the
Got it.
callers that came in. Listen, we coming back next week, same time, same back channel. Either on catch me on the YouTube, my
Catch
YouTube
you.
channel. Roshad D. Hall. We coming back with Real Talk Road next Thursday at 6 p.m. And we're
DM
gonna bring back
If you
some.
got a
Don't
700
please
Do not get in this
DM
man.
me.
If you got a
Don't-
700,
Please do not get in this man's DM.
you own your house.
Do not listen to Frank.
Listen, we love y'all.
Oh my
Thank y'all
God.
for rocking with us. And
You are the
being a
wingman from
blessing.
hell.
Ain't he? You know what I'm saying? He talking about all this stuff where the wife needs to be in the DM him. All right.
He
No.
is a hot mess.
In his
Hot mess.
inbox.
And I love him. Do not get in my inbox. I love
Please
him.
do not get in his inbox.
Working with him.
No.
There's nothing you can do about
Yeah,
it.
you
This
work
is Real
it.
Talk with Ro, and we out.